of your favorite show. At producer, 5'11" from Blanchester, the Cow Killer, Casey McCollister. And comic engineer, standing at 4'8", the pride of the West Side, Elliot Rearing. And your host, weighing 150 pounds, soaking wet, from Hamilton, Ohio, Ace Fowler.
Welcome on in. We are Off the Bench Chatterbox Sports, coming to you live on a Tuesday morning. It's a beautiful day in Hamilton, Ohio. We're going to be talking about the Cincinnati Reds taking a big victory from the Pittsburgh Pirates. That'll be a main portion of the show. We're going to be ranking some of the best championship Game 7 winning moments in sports history. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Stanley Cup Finals, Game 7 last night. The College World Series is over. We're talking a little bit about Tennessee's first ever championship. Welcome on in. How's everybody doing? Reed, Jimmy, we have Jacob. Whenever I start doing that, I lose a name. It's somewhere along the way. I lose a name because no Casey again today. Reed is in the main producer's chair. There he is. There's Reed.
Look at that grin.
I'll say this. I had a very good night last night because not just because of the Reds, I won a bet. And usually when I win a decent-sized parlay, I get very excited.
Very nice.
But then I get on Twitter.
No.
I get on Twitter, and all of a sudden I see I won't give a free ad, but I'm going to give a free ad. There's somebody named the Grateful Keg on Twitter. And if you don't know the Grateful Keg, he's a gambler, and he makes these crazy parlays, and he's just a lifelong gambler. I love him. The Keg put out a parlay last night. It had over 9.5 runs in the Reds-Pirates game. He had the Reds money line. He had O'Neal Cruz to record 5 bases. Jacob told me he was like 1 for 30.
I think it was like 25. That's not even an exaggeration.
Coming into that game. Ellie De La Cruz to get 5 bases as well. And why not? Spencer Steer hit a double. Just an exact double. $30 to win $10,320, and he hit it.
Boom.
And he hit it. One of the greatest parlay wins of this century. That's outrageous. He called it the Cruz Missile Parlay, but then added a Spencer Steer double.
And the over 9.5.
And the over 9.5. Outrageous parlay. It made me feel really bad about my bet. My bet was like 13 to win 130. And I was like, yeah, that's a great win. Some people are winning a little bit more than me. But listen, welcome on in. How's everybody doing? Jacob, big Reds win. Your
big
thoughts?
Reds
What
win.
are the vibes this morning?
They were good. They were good vibes. For me, I'm going to be honest, didn't watch the end of the Reds game because Game 7 was on. But,
fair.
It was good. Glad I didn't have to sweat it out. I got nervous there in the middle, but, glad they pulled away. It was nice.
That's right. Jim, your Tigers looked great last night. How are you feeling this morning?
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, the Phillies are just so much better than us, so it's not really like
Not a believer. I'm not a believer in the Phils.
It's not really,
when does that change?
I didn't expect to win.
When they prove to me that they are good.
Because they are.
Yeah, they got the best record in baseball, no?
But
Yeah.
great matchup tonight, Tarek Skubal and Ranger Suarez. So
Are you just hanging your hat on when Skubal pitches? Like, you're just like, yeah, that's the only thing I've got to look forward to right now?
I mean, I look forward to it.
Beat.
There's 6 games under. We're in a really tough stretch of the schedule. Once it gets to July, it eases up a little bit. So
I'll trade you because the Cubs just blow a ninth inning lead every single night. I think I looked this up yesterday. If the Cubs had half of their blown saves, I think they'd either be in first place in the Central or be like a game out of first place in the Central.
Very nice.
Half. I'm not talking all of them. I'm saying half. Just cut them in half.
So baseball is such a funny sport because if Reed wasn't in this room, I would not know how the Cubs were losing any of these games.
Right.
So last night, the Giants were plus 450 on the money line right before I went to bed. I was just scrolling around.
Yep.
I'm like, well, I'll put $5 on it.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. And that's why I came in this morning. I'm like, wait a minute. They actually blew that? Because I bet what I do is I bet the under, I bet the live under, and then I bet the underdog. So either I'm going to win one of them at plus money. It was my theory last night, and I did. So shout out to the Chicago Cubs. We'll get to that more during the headlines. But
Kirby put this in the chat, and he's absolutely right. We all Reds fans are like, should Alexis Diaz lose his closer role for the Reds? If the Cubs had Alexis Diaz, they would have the second playoff spot by 6-7 games right now.
Yeah.
They'd
That's
be
crazy.
that much better. The problem is the three reliable relief pitchers, or the 4 reliable relief pitchers that they expected to go into this year. Julian Merriweather, hurt. Adbert Alzolay, hurt. Mark Leiter, hurt. And now Hector Neris sucks. So it's just like, what do we do? What do we do?
The Reds have a 79% save percentage. That ranks first in Major League Baseball. The Chicago Cubs are right behind the Tigers and the White Sox. The Cubs have obviously 16 blown saves, as Reed said, and 34 opportunities. 53% save percentage there. But the White Sox are still worse. 21 blown saves and 34 opportunities with a 38%.
I mean, that's just ridiculous.
What are the Tigers?
You guys come in here and you begroan. You're like, yeah, Alexis Diaz closed the game, but he walked a guy. The Cubs give up 2 runs in the 9th and we win. We're like, yeah, let's rock and roll, baby. Like, we won.
That's unfortunate.
What are the Tigers?
It says 16 blown saves and 32 opportunities for 50% save percentage.
Not great.
500 baseball team, baby.
We don't have a closer, though, so.
Get in the boat, brother. Get in the boat.
Yeah, it's brutal. We
don't have a relief pitcher, let alone a close. Like, can just our starters, can we get through the season with 5 guys? I don't know.
The crazy thing is, too, at the start of the year, when the Tigers bullpen would come in, if they gave up a run, I was surprised. Like the first 5 games,
right? Like I'm saying this, Reds fans are begroaning Alexis Diaz. Like, yeah, he got through it, but a guy got on second base. It's like, can we just not give up 3 runs in the 9th? Is that too hard to ask?
Is having a bad bullpen, like a really bad bullpen,
it's the worst.
Is it the worst thing you can have on a baseball team?
No. Let me put it this way: out of all the things that you can have, like good hitting, good starting pitching, good defense, good bullpen, the bullpen is the least important out of those 4 things, but it hurts the most.
It's the most annoying to have be your worst facet. Like, if you're a competitive baseball team, or at least a fringe competitive baseball team, and you have a terrible bullpen, it's infuriating to watch baseball.
It's the same as having a bad kicker. Because, yes, kickers are important, but they are the least important part on the team. And you expect the bullpen, you expect the kicker to do their jobs, right? Like, you just everyone else, everything got in line. Can you just get the outs when we have the lead? And when that doesn't happen, it kills you. Because you can swallow even a starting pitcher and having a bad outing. You can swallow getting shut out. When you are up 4-1 in the 9th inning, you don't want to swallow $11 million a year Drew Smiley walking in the game-winning run. By the way, that's who closed the game last night, is Drew Smiley.
Yeah,
that's rough.
Former starter. Yeah, but I mean, looking at the bullpen ERA, the Reds are 10th in the league with 3.82. The Tigers are 11th with 3.85, and the Cubs are 15th with 3.95. So I think it's just closer issues.
It's the whole bullpen. Here's the thing that I'll say. Also, Everett's getting on me about my Evan McPherson kicker take. I wouldn't say that about
your friend.
My golf partner, E-Dog, EMAC, as we like to. He lets me call him EMAC.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I take that back, EMAC. So.
I had a chance to win a pretty decent bet last night, too. Plus 800 on the Oilers, win the Stanley Cup. Could have hedged. On the Panthers.
Should have.
I did double down. I guess it was a future, so I more quintupled down on the Oilers.
Yeah.
Obviously, puck didn't bounce my way in that one. Went from a minor future loss to a moderately substantial Monday night shot to the pocket.
I told you yesterday my brain was all over the Oilers.
Yeah.
Which means that anybody else should be all over the Florida Panthers. I did bet the Florida Panthers because of this logic. I did
Mark
with my
told
bet.
me to.
Here's another bet I had. This is just if I was a sports book, right? If I was BetMGM or FanDuel, DraftKings,
or
Tipico, RIP, any of these sports books, I'd get in contact with me immediately and study and research my brain. Last night I went to Chipotle for dinner, and I was in the Chipotle and I was looking at the Reds line. I was following the box score when I got in there. I'm like, you know what? It's 1-0 right now. Pirates. Reds aren't scoring a run with this lineup. Under 7.5. I get in my car, and I'm not kidding, before I get home. The Reds put that 5 spot up in the next inning, and it was over before the next inning, I think the Pirates added 2 more. And I'll tell you what, I lose bets so quick that it honestly shouldn't even be allowed. It shouldn't even be, there's no time to process the actual
If it loses
wager.
within 15 minutes, you should just get it canceled.
I 100%. But that's just how bad of a gambler I am. But I did win a bet last night. I made some money last night. Good for me. And I didn't make $10,000, but I was close.
I hope one day that happens to me.
I'm still banking on it.
Like, I just want that to happen.
I'm still banking on it. I knew the Grateful Keg through a guy. I knew him through a mutual friend of mine, and I was like, "What would you do with this $10,000?" And he's like, "Oh, I'd use it all. I'm gonna spend it all on a. I'm gonna go to a casino, put it all in red."
I mean, if you win a $30 to win 10,000 parlay, I am going to the casino and I am putting it all on red.
No. You see, you guys are like, I hope that happens to me someday. When I gamble, that can't even happen because I don't gamble. Like, I don't throw these crazy it just won't happen because I just don't do it.
I got one of those out a week, so maybe I'll hit even if I hit one.
I'm always chasing the even. I like when FanDuel tells me how much money I've lost over the past 3 years.
I'm up on DraftKings now.
Really?
Yeah, it's still down on FanDuel, but I'm up on DraftKings.
That's actually really big.
Yeah, it's huge for morale.
Big for morale. Jim, do we have the Reds win counter before we end this segment? I really just wanted to look at it.
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen it in quite some time.
Almost assuredly we do not.
Almost assuredly we do not. But here's the thing. I'm going to give him
If I know anything about Jimmy, he'll get it going.
There it is. Look at that.
Look at that.
It was easy.
I mean, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful.
This is what it was all about. Last night, as soon as I sent a tweet out saying this is the worst lineup the Reds have had all season, as soon as I said it,
if I'm in charge, we ain't putting that win graphic up.
Immediately.
There's another graphic will go up.
It was all funny when the Cubs were doing well and the Reds weren't, but now that.
Yeah, that's how it works, Jimbo.
Poor Cubs. Cubs will get them back. Cubs will get somebody back soon. I'm sure of it. They play the White Sox again anytime soon? The Chicago series?
Yeah, but playing the White Sox is fun.
They won the series
Subway
against
series.
the Giants last week. And by the way, this is the fourth game that they played against the Giants. They've gone up in the ninth inning 2 to 3 runs every time, and they're 500 in those games.
Yeah, I can't help that.
But yeah, I don't know. The Cubs, they're killing me. So I don't know.
Good for the Cubs. ESPN 1410, thank you very much for listening on your radio or in your car. We will be right back with you. We're going to take a quick short break. For those on YouTube, you just stay right with us. In a few seconds, we start talking again. That's it. Welcome back in. We are Off the Bench Chatterbox Sports, presented by United Dairy Farmers. It's a glorious Tuesday morning in Hamilton, Ohio. For those listening on the radio, obviously it's Tuesday afternoon for you in Dayton. Hopefully you're having a good day, pleasant day.
Hopefully it's also beautiful there.
Hopefully it's also beautiful there.
Can't be sure, but I hope so.
You ever see one of those there's the webs like Earth Cam. You ever see the Earth Cam?
Maybe.
Because when I worked at 700 WLW, this is a funny story actually. We were locked inside a box. There's no windows in our studios. They went away with the actual view, so you could see out the windows. There's just soundproof walls surrounding us. And my producer guy, Joe Strecker, shout out to Joe Strecker. He produces 55 KRC, I think. He would every day he'd turn on his Earth Cam and he'd pick somewhere in the world. We have like 5 TVs a room. He'd put the Earth Cam on all the TVs.
That's great.
So every day we'd go to a new country.
That's awesome.
in his little producer.
Travel the world.
That's what we need here in the Hamilton studios. But saying that, yes, Nate, I did work at 700 WLW. Yes, Adam, I did work in radio. That's a great bit, and it never gets old, ever. Headlines. Talked a little bit about it. Well, the Cincinnati Reds have won a baseball game. They threw out the greatest lineup the world's ever known, and David Bell really proved himself last night. Why exactly? He is the all-star manager of the Cincinnati Reds. Great performance by him, great lineup. His use of analytics was flawless.
Scoring 11 runs, no one is more to give credit to for that than the manager. So,
correct.
David Bell, shout out to you for last night. Telling Ellie before he got up there, hey, put this one on the boat, and he listened. So good call by you, David Bell. Thank you for the win.
Levi Jordan, I know you never played a game before, but you're going to hit a double tonight.
Hit this one off the wall and have it roll 30 feet, Levi, please.
Levi, that's what you're going to do based on my leadership because I'm David Bell, the all-star manager. Reds win 11-5 over the Pittsburgh Pirates. Carson Spires, he threw 6 innings, 7 hit, 3 earned run baseball, 5 strikeouts. I'll tell you what, Jacob.
I actually had fun.
I'll tell you what, Jacob. I had fun.
I had a lot of fun.
I had fun, and if I'm going to be honest, there's no reason to bring Graham Ashcraft back if this is going to be the case.
No, not at all.
If Carson Spires is going to give me 6 innings, 3 earned run baseball, I mean.
And the I guess, sentiment around his last start would have been much different if it wasn't against Paul Skeens, who
Yeah.
shut down the Reds lineup. We probably would have been at least moderately competitive in the game, and it wouldn't have fallen on his shoulders. So I think he's been pretty good these last two.
Do you think there's a chance they bring up Ashcraft and have a 6-man rotation?
I wouldn't rule it out, but I think he'd have to look better than he's looked so far. I mean, he's been fine in AAA, don't get me wrong, but, I mean, giving up 3-4 runs for, a AAA lineup, that's obviously not what you want to see when you send him down there.
Yeah.
I also don't know that they want to. Like, they might just want to leave him down there and let him work on whatever he wants to work on and bring him up next spring training.
Jonathan India, he went 3 for 4 last night with a walk and 2 doubles. Added an RBI as well. Over his last 7 games, Jonathan India is hitting .423 with a .465 OBP and a .692 slugging percentage. Over his last 30 games, Jonathan India is hitting .323 with a .420 OBP. He has 19 RBIs over that stretch and 31 hits over his last 30 games. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh for who? Uh-oh, Johnny
Uh-oh for a lot of
Newhome.
people. Uh-oh for the Jonathan India haters, and then uh-oh for the Jonathan India lovers because trade value's never been higher.
Uh-oh, Jonathan India's family. This housing market's pretty crazy. High interest rates, high mortgage rates. I'm sorry, John.
Uh-oh, get ready to
Shout
learn.
out Jonathan India. I think he's top 10 in the National
Get
League
ready to
on base
learn.
percentage.
Really?
Cleveland
I
Guardians?
think he sneaks in right at
Ooh,
10.
Kansas City Royals?
This
he
is
does look like a guardian.
Yeah.
here's the thing that we haven't talked about in whether or not like trade, buy, sell, whatever you want to do at the trade deadline. With how competitive the National League is, there's not going to be a big market out there. So Jonathan India might be the biggest name on the market. So
There we go. Little funny nugget Jimmy put in the chat that I didn't realize. Graham Ashcraft has a bobblehead day coming up.
Oh, no.
On my birthday,
When is it?
July 7th.
Oh, no.
That's brutal.
happy early birthday.
Thanks.
They'll bring him up.
Will he pitch that game?
Yeah, they'll bring him up for
Okay.
that. I have no doubt in my mind.
Uh-oh. If he pitches that game.
Scooball
Scooball.
Ashcraft, let's go.
Well, that's fine. He'll be. You know what? He'll be a starter for Spires.
Oh,
He'll
sure.
open the game
for
up in the
Spires.
first. He'll play 3 batters no matter what. And
Nick Kirby just put in there, I think other GMs across baseball are a little bit smarter than you guys think.
Figure that out every trade deadline.
That's my favorite thing is when
Yeah.
we whenever world problems come about or we try to solve things. I'm like, there are people that this is all they think about.
Sure.
And why we just spitball it for 5
we're
minutes
like, we got
on,
it.
on a Tuesday morning, we figure it out. So I don't know what they're spending
That's
their
true.
time doing.
That's true.
Ellie De La Cruz. I'm actually smarter than Nick Kroll. Ellie De La Cruz went 3 for 5.
Get
with,
rear-ended.
get rear-ended. Well, that's people see. This is where people would used to say that as my last name. They'd say rear-ended. That's what it would be.
It's good.
So that's what they would have. That's
Rearing rear-ended.
That's a stretch.
correct. It would listen. I didn't make it. I didn't make the nickname. They made the nickname. Ellie De La Cruz went 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a double and a home run. I think we can say that on the radio. A double and a home run. The home run went 440 feet to the riverboat above the batter's eye. In the StatCast era, only 2 players have hit it there. Anybody want to take a guess on those 2 if you saw it last night?
I think the other one's Mike Trout.
Nope. Corbin Carroll and a former Red, Jim Day, Eugenio Suarez are the only 2 in the StatCast era, to be clear. Todd Frazier's hit it up there. Joey Votto's hit it up there. There's been a lot. Adam Dunn hit it over there.
For some reason, I remember Mike Trout hitting a bomb at GABP when I went there, but I thought I got over. Must not have.
I don't know. Imagine how cool it would have been if last night was Chatterbox Reds night and we were on that boat. At Ball Lands.
Don't want to spoil anything. Tonight is Chatterbox night.
It is.
Tonight is Chatterbox night
Teaser.
at Foundation Field for the Hamilton Joes.
How about that?
Heck yeah.
I'm gonna get this stat up because I found it right before I got into work today, and it's honestly absurd. Ellie over his last 17 games. I know it's a specific thing, kind of cherry picking the stat a little bit. Ellie's last 17 games, 7 multi-hit games, 4 3-hit games. He's hitting 303, 387, 591, 978 over that span with 4 home runs, 9 RBIs, 9 walks, and 13 runs scored. Absolutely absurd. Over his last 15 are obviously, which is kind of what I just said, he's still hitting 286 with a 385 OBP, 571 slug.
380 in his last 7.
But yeah, Ellie De La Cruz has been incredible. Lately, and you do this thing with Ellie. I know we do the thing with Ellie where he's there for a while, and then he's gone for a little bit, and then he's there for a while. He's just a really good baseball player, and everybody knows
It's
that.
really fun when he's here, though.
It is very fun when there's not a more fun time during this Red season than when Ellie De La Cruz is here.
Every month when he goes on a 2-week stretch where he's the best player in the world, it's pretty cool.
If Nick Kirby is still in the chat and he's paying attention in there, can you tell me what his splits are at home versus on the road? Because I'm almost certain he's hitting 100 points better in every category at home versus on the road. When he comes to JBP, he shows out. Also, he did the interviews in English again. Shout out to Ellie De La Cruz for learning English.
Shout out to Eugenio Suarez for making that a thing.
Yep.
Or at least getting the ball rolling in Cincinnati with making that a priority to learn. I think it's pretty cool.
Yep. Spencer Steer added a multi-hit game with 3 RBIs and a double.
At home, Ellie is batting .274. On the road, he's batting .221, .507 slug at home, .420 slug on the road. Pretty big difference.
So this is just a different player when he's at home, which is really cool to see.
I like how you. Oh no, we're frozen.
Uh-oh.
Are we?
Are we good? Do we crash? Oh, there we go. We're back. Are we back? All right, we're back. We froze there. We froze there for a second. But I like how before you went into to Ellie's previous month of stats, you're like, I know we're cherry picking stats here. When you did it for India, you're like, oh, bad news for the India haters.
There's something.
That's what you call bias.
I do. Listen, I'll always.
The fact that you like Jonathan India more than Ellie De La Cruz,
No,
it's visible
no.
on the program.
No,
is insane.
Don't.
He said, and I quote, over the last 15 games, John India that's batting .310. Ho, bad for the India haters. And then when he did the same thing for Ellie,
30 for Elliott.
He's like, I'm gonna cherry pick some stats here real quick. It's like, what are we doing?
Don't bring the slander in here. All right,
You're the one bringing slander.
You slander me all the time. All right, Stuart Fairchild. He added an RBI double as well yesterday. Stuart is hitting .262 with a .340 OBP over his last 30 games. So as it turns out,
I'm going to be bold.
He's not the player that he was the first month of the season when he was playing every single day against right-handed pitching.
I'm going to be bold.
Yeah.
I think he's pretty good as a platoon player.
I think he's more than deserving of the 26th man
I would
or
say
25th man on the Reds roster. Stuart Fairchild's a good player. If we have the splits on him too, Jacob, I don't know if you have those available. I'm going to keep reading.
I can get there in a second.
But give me his lefty-righty splits too.
Oh, that's always a fun.
It's always
a fun
It's
check.
always fun to look at the thing that he was supposed to be hitting this season.
Stuart Fairchild against lefties is batting .294, .375, .435. Oh, and good news. Against righties, he's up to triple digits, an even 100 with a 182 OBP and a 180 slug.
Interesting. Well, I mean, that's not very good. But still, the left-handed pitching is,
pretty good.
It's what he was supposed to do. The Reds called up Levi Jordan last night. He was a 28-year-old who thought about quitting baseball several times. In front of the home crowd, he added his first career hit, a double off the right field wall, and he also added his first career RBI on a sac fly. Levi Jordan, absolutely phenomenal game. Vibes guy to the moon. When you see these journeyman baseball players who've never made the league and they're still just trying to get their chance, and you see him in the post-game presser, it's so awesome. Yeah, I know he got on the field last night with his family. I saw the pictures. I think one of the quotes he had, and I'm not direct quoting here, he said he's never had an experience like that where everybody was cheering for him, and that just makes you want to cry a little bit. So Levi Jordan, I hope you're here. I hope you're here to stay. Honest to God, we've been looking for that final guy on this roster, and until T.J. Friedel, Noelvi Marte, all these guys return and/or maybe won't return, it's really cool to see.
I had a question
a guy like this
for
succeed.
Jimmy with his goat, the big Hurtabeast down. Are you going to be a Levi Jordan guy now? Are you just Mr. 26th man?
Well, you already did it with one Chicago sports icon, the Big Hurt. You could just do
Jordan's better than LeBron and just run with Levi Jordan.
Jordan's the GOAT.
Sure.
You should get a jersey instead of Hurtabeast, number 26th, and just man on the back.
Yeah.
Just
That
whoever
would
the
be good.
26th man is your favorite player.
Just 26 man.
Yeah. That's actually a good
So
idea.
this is per Charlie Goldsmith. Speaking of TJ Friedel, I thought I'd give this update before we finish the Reds game. Quote, it's frustrating. He said he saw positive steps on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but was still just at 85%. He told David Bell on Friday that there was no pain and he felt like he could play through it. The takeaway from this week was, quote, I can't play at 85%. Friedel, again, quote, "It's tough. The fractured wrist diving for a ball. You get him in the thumb right after. The biggest thing I did the whole time was keep my legs in shape. That was my number one priority. I always say I want to be out there with this team and play every day with these guys. He has to give the hamstring time to heal properly, and the next steps are rest, rehab, and a follow-up in about 12 days. So we'll see if TJ Friedel can stay within that time frame. The Reds and the Pirates are back at it tonight, where Mitch Keller squares off against Hunter Green. Mitch Keller rocking a 3.11 ERA, 8-4 on the season with 85 strikeouts and a 1.2 WHIP. Hunter Green has a 3.35 ERA, 5-2 record, 98 strikeouts, and a 1.12 WHIP. Though that is your Reds game last night. Again, I did turn it off as well to go to the Stanley Cup when the Reds had it in the bag.
Big fan.
But whenever, we were talking about this before the show. Anytime we slander a lineup, a team, a player, the Reds, anytime you do that, when Nick Kirby posted that 4-second clip of me saying the season was over, immediately, what do the Reds do? They sweep the Dodgers. I tweeted last night, this Reds lineup was the worst I've ever seen. Terrible lineup. It has no chance of scoring any runs. What do? Instant 11 spot. Instant. The offense looked great last night. Phenomenal. Against a team that has very good pitching. I think Bailey Falter coming into that game had a 3.7 ERA. That was a good pitcher last night, and the Reds still managed to dominate. That was really fun to see. But that's it. That was your Reds recap from last night against the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Reds win the first game of the series yet again. Will they win the second? We don't know. We'll talk about it coming up next.
Hope so.
ESPN 1410, Wing AM. We are off the bench. Chatterbox Sports presented by United Dairy Farmers. Excuse me. There's multiple.
All of them.
There's multiple farmers.
All of them.
We'll be back in just a
Well, they
couple
gotta be
minutes.
United.
And we are back again off the bench. I am Elliot Rearing. We have Jacob Tissett, Reed Mouse Radio, and we have Jimmy Collins, a.k.a. James C. James C., how we doing?
James C. Doing well.
Good. It's good to see your face, Jim.
It's good to see your
As
face.
the Tigers just trash themselves all over the baseball yard, night in, night out. It's good to see you come in here with a smiling, positive attitude.
One thing that I want to say is I think that it's quite funny how when I first started interning here, the Reds were awful, and I didn't say anything. But now, and the Tigers
how it
were
works,
probably
brother.
12 games better.
Welcome to the club.
But now that the Tigers have gone on a little cold stretch over the last month, you haven't let me hear the end of it.
If you want some advice from a Reds troll, I think I'm too nice to punch down. So I do my best trolling when the Reds are at their best.
You like to punch exactly across.
I think I like to punch up. I think when the Cubs are playing well and the Reds were doing bad, I wasn't saying much about the Reds. I mean, I'd sneak into the Reds stink because they just did at the time.
You started a win counter when we had 6 losses in a row.
Well, we had to get back to 12. What are you talking about?
But you say you don't punch down. You started a win counter in the
Vibes.
middle of a losing streak.
Sorry. I mean, I was trying to get back to 12. I was trying to rile up the boys. It made the team better. You got to do it when the Reds are at their best. That's what I've realized.
Reed's
That's where
Reds
it's
clips have done better than my Reds clips lately. So that's what
Reed's the best Reds fan on
that's
Twitter.
that's the real concern of all of this.
If you think it's a delight that I went from Dear Reds fans a year ago to I think I have the most viral last few Reds
Yes.
clips in the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
Two of them because I'm just dropping takes. Just dropping them left and
guy.
right.
And
Oh,
the
I'm
replies
the
aren't
best
even
Reds
all
fan.
hate.
I'm the best Reds fan here, and I hate the Reds.
Before I continue with
Sad parts, that's true.
Yeah, it is true. Before I continue with headlines, I see Brian B's in the chat. Brian B, I don't know if you know this, Brian. You won Chat Member of the Week last week,
Yep.
so congratulations. To you. You're the
Congratulations.
#1 chatter. And this is a message.
But
so I'm
we
gonna,
knew that.
Yeah, this is a message. I'm going to read it. This is for Jacob.
Oh, thank you.
Saban saw Tissett's baseball swing and fell out of his chair laughing. Bama fans, Tissett caused King Saban a broken hip. Run him out of Alabama. Ran him right out of. Is that true? Nick
I mean,
Saban?
Brian doesn't tell a lie, so.
Yeah, you're right.
Well,
Brian,
the
yeah.
thing that I like about Brian is
apology.
that he is advocating that they run Jacob out of Alabama. Our studio's in Hamilton, Ohio. So
I'm good.
and,
good.
and Nick is right. The pretty background music during Reed's Reds clips are what make those
That
videos.
is true.
So that is on Nick Kirby. Thank you very much, Nick Kirby.
I have a good editor.
All right, continuing on around the league. The Guardians beat the Orioles 3-2 in Baltimore. Jose Ramirez hit a 450-foot home run in the sixth to be the difference. I don't know if you saw that. I can't show the clip because of copyright. Nick Kirby's very strict with these copyright rules, so I'm not going to show it. But a fan out in deep right field in foul territory had one of the craziest catches I've ever seen. He was out there. I'm pretty sure he one-handed it. It was just a foul ball, but it was electric. He was all by himself out there. Very, very cool. The Phillies, they destroy the loser franchise that is the Detroit Tigers, 8-1. The Phillies turned a 1-3-5 triple play, which the league has not seen in 95 years. Let's clap it up for history. Let's clap it up for the Detroit Tigers. How about them, Jim? They just don't stop losing.
I'm going to ignore you.
It's a good way of going about it. That's a good way of going about it.
Rudy was a great movie.
You know
Mariners fall to the Rays 4-3. Red Sox beat the Blue Jays 7-6. Chris Bassett went 7 innings, only allowing 2 earned runs, striking out 2. But the bullpen collapsed, and the Blue Jays lose yet again. Man, I want the Blue Jays to be good eventually, and they're just never going to be good, are they?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like
Not
it.
in that division.
I don't know.
There's just
You have to win, and you have to win 115 games to compete for first in that division.
for the wild card.
Yeah.
I think besides the Yankees, the Blue Jays are the most recent team to win back-to-back World Championships, and it's around the same time that they won their last Stanley Cup, the country of Canada. It was 92-93. They had Joe Carter, full walk-off to win the World Series. Favorite championship moments coming up later on the show.
Man, Canada's #1 sport, and they just can't beat America. Isn't that brutal?
They
pretty
can't
funny.
beat Florida.
I mean, that's just Florida with no ice in sight, and they can't beat them. It's really sad to see, honestly. The Cardinals, they stayed hot, beating the Atlanta Braves 4-3. Cardinals have won 9 of their last 12. Let's play this game, Jacob. Are we worried about the St. Louis Cardinals yet?
Every single day when I wake up, I worry about the St. Louis Cardinals. So they have done nothing but torment me my entire life. I think they're going to be pretty good.
Listen.
They'll figure it out. I mean, they have the biggest names on the roster of any team in the Central. So
I'm not going to write them out from the division. I refuse to believe in the
They're not
Milwaukee
unfortunate.
Brewers. And then if you refuse to believe in those guys, then you have to believe in everybody else, and the rest of that division is trash. Respectfully to all of us. We're all in the same dumpster together.
this division is a joke.
Well, since
NL Central's tough.
Since Mother's Day, I think the Cardinals are 25-13.
Really?
20,
Ruh-roh.
they were 10 games under 500 through the first month of baseball, and then they went 25-13, something along those lines. Playing really good baseball right now. There's a team that has done the complete opposite that's in the NL Central. One of us roots for them.
Interesting. Rangers, they lose to the Brewers 6-3. A Rhys Hoskins grand slam was the difference in this one. Royals take care of the Marlins 4-1. Dodgers shut out the White Sox 3-0. Angels, they beat the Athletics 5-2. Padres defeat the Nationals 7-6. And the Giants end their 5-game losing streak by coming back to score 3 in the bottom of the 9th to come back from 2 runs to beat the Cubs. They walked in the final run, the game-winning run.
It was divine intervention, by the way, because they hadn't won since Willie Mays passed away, and it was the night that they honored Willie Mays at AT&T, whatever it's called now.
Yeah.
So it was just divine intervention. That was just Willie playing ball out there. Listen,
Yeah,
I'm not
because the
saying
Cubs
this
haven't blown
to
any other saves this year.
I'm not saying this to disparage the great Willie Mays, because he is one of the 5 greatest baseball players of all time.
And he just passed away, so
But
Very recently.
during the tribute last night, they say the greatest San Francisco Giant ever. Barry was on the field. He was literally on the field. But also, shout out to the Giants for honoring Barry Bonds. Maybe the Cubs should do that with Sammy Sosa.
I think they should.
It is cool.
Yeah,
to
Sammy
see,
Sosa has not been back to Wrigley Field in 20 years.
it's cool to see those guys coming back to the sport a little bit. And when they had
Yeah.
Barry at Rickwood, I thought that was cool. I didn't expect that.
I think the Cubs should still have Steve Bartman throw out the first pitch one of these days.
He would have to be alive for that one.
Steve Bartman?
Oh, the Cubs just buried him they 86'd him.
I see.
Yeah, he hasn't done an interview since.
He has a World Series ring. They did ship him a World Series ring, which was cool.
Well, that's what the Cubs say happened.
Oh,
it's easy to
Oh no,
to
he
put,
had a press release.
it's they had he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
a PR agent. He hasn't been on TV since
Yeah.
in 20.
He came out and said it.
Well, a PR agent came out and said it.
Sure.
It's easy to put out.
Reed doesn't want to think that the Cubs gave Steve Bartman a World Series ring.
I'm woke that Steve Bartman
You're woke
You
on
think
it.
he's dead?
Might have been assassinated by the Ricketts family. Actually, they were owned by the paper at the time, so he might have been assassinated by the Chicago Sun people.
Steve, if you're out there in Dayton, Ohio right now and you're listening on the radio, please come into Hamilton. I'd love to talk to you, and we can talk about the Cubs disrespecting.
If
you.
we
In a-
could
in a
get Steve
3
Bartman
minute-
on this show, it would be the biggest thing we've ever done.
It would
in a
be,
three-
no doubt about it.
In a 3-minute span, I said that Willie Mays, a week after he passed away, isn't the greatest San Francisco Giant of all time, and I insinuated that the Cubs assassinated Steve Bartman. Let's have a Tuesday here on All My
Let's
Opinions.
That's right.
go.
This
Ball
is the
rolling
best
early
show
today.
on the internet or on radio.
Before I finish headlines again, not to go on a Steve Bartman tangent, but that documentary, my favorite part is when just some random guy called into Dan Patrick, and they just had no choice but to believe it was Steve Bartman. So like, yeah, come on the air. And most definitely was not Steve Bartman.
My family won't watch Spotlight because they like being Catholics. I won't watch Catching Hell because I like being a Cubs fan.
Oh, that series was awesome. The Oilers, NHL news. The Oilers, obviously, we mentioned it earlier on. They were unable to make the 3-0 comeback against the Panthers. They fall 2-1 in Game 7. Connor McDavid still wins the Conn Smythe Award in a losing effort. He wasn't out there to accept it, right? He just stayed back.
Yeah, he stayed back.
He stayed back.
It was he's the second non-goalie to ever win the Conn Smythe on losing team.
Really?
Usually, if that happens, it's because a goalie had a crazy amount of saves or anything. Second non-goalie to ever win Conn Smythe. Pretty cool. He's unbelievable. Back-to-back 4-point games. Game 4, Game 5. Obviously didn't score last night, which was a shame. But great run. Most assists ever in a single playoff run. Gretzky is now 2, 3, and 4.
Really?
So yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Turns out you should be afraid of him,
Should
even
be.
when you beat him.
Should
Yeah,
be.
did you see that stat that it was putting up the most points ever in a well, they put up Connor McDavid's run. It was 42 points in 30 games, and then it was Wayne Gretzky 50 points in 15 games,
Yeah.
and it's oh, maybe the great one is the great one.
Yeah.
Me and Jacob before the show where he was saying Connor McJesus is going to be better than Wayne Gretzky. That'll never happen.
No, I said he could be talked about as a
Oh, we could talk
as
about
a
it.
GOAT because of different eras.
I could say Stuart Fairchild. I could talk about Stuart Fairchild being better than Barry Bonds. It doesn't bring it into reality, brother.
If Stuart Fairchild had juiced up bones and he played back in 1999, Stuart Fairchild would have been Barry Bonds.
Can you imagine Hannah Randall's TikToks with a juiced up Stuart Fairchild instead of doing the little Charleston thing? He's just got a head 10 times bigger than it should be.
Oh, that would be great. Stuart Fairchild, what a guy.
I don't think McDavid will ever pass Gretzky because we
Well,
saw it the last
to be
two
clear,
games.
nobody.
to be
will
clear,
ever
that's
pass
not what I
Gretzky.
said.
The last two games, he just disappeared.
Let's clarify that.
Jacob slandered Wayne
I said
Gretzky
McDavid.
and said basically anybody that plays in today's game is better because Wayne Gretzky was going up against firemen and plumbers. That's what Jacob Tissett said before this show started.
I said McDavid could be viewed as one of the GOATs because of different eras. He's never going to get there statistically, but if he keeps doing what he's doing right now, he will go down as one of the most dominant hockey players ever.
You got to win the cup.
Correct. He will go down, but there was an insinuation that you might be misremembering that you said he will go down as the best. And I said
He could
no,
go down as the best.
because Wayne Gretzky's
But he
the
can't.
greatest team athlete of all time.
He can't, though.
Jacob hates Wayne Gretzky.
He does.
Interesting. College baseball news. Tennessee wins its first ever men's College World Series title with a 6-5 victory over Texas A&M last night. Any thoughts on that? Anybody watch that?
I was in hell the whole series because I hate both these teams so much.
Yeah.
And I get the SEC last 5 College World Series, 6 of the last 7 College World Series.
That is nuts, isn't it?
SEC dominates football, but there's no more dominant conference than SEC baseball.
It's interesting. This is just something I haven't watched yet, ever, really. I think I've watched a couple of these games. But outside of that, it's just like a College World Series.
The last time, I'm just pulling this up, and I bring this up a lot just to show you how bad the North is at baseball in amateur ranks. The last team to win north of the Mason-Dixon line, I'm not counting Oregon State because they're out west. I'm saying like a northern team, a traditional Yankee, was Ohio State. As far as I'm looking at Ohio State in 1966. Other teams that have won in that time, we're talking Fresno State, we're talking Pepperdine, we're talking
Coastal.
Yeah, Coastal Carolina, like small schools, and you're telling me Michigan, Ohio State, Penn, none of these northern schools can get it done. They just can't because the weather's bad. They just can't do it.
Interesting. And the final headline of the day, I guess I'll just read these soccer scores out. I mean, they're soccer scores. Copa and the Euros are playing. I guess the winner of each of these tournaments play each other.
They do?
No.
Oh, that'd
But
be cool.
That would be cool.
That'd be really cool.
I guess they call that the World Cup, though.
I guess
Brazil
you're
and
right.
Costa Rica tied 0-0 in a thriller. Colombia, they beat Paraguay 2-1. Spain shut out Albania 1-0. And Croatia and Italy tied at 1 apiece. Reeds, what's your thoughts on Albania Soccer Club getting shut out by your Spaniards?
Good luck scoring against my Spaniards.
Thanks, Reed. ESPN 1410 Wing AM, we are talking about the Cincinnati Reds' dominant victory over the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Reds played the Pirates, what was that, last week? A week ago? I don't even remember. And it looked like the offense didn't want to show up whatsoever. Last night, the offense more than made up for it. 11 runs. 11 runs. And the bottom half of that lineup was not very good. But, nonetheless, they were still able to dominate the Pittsburgh Pirates. We will be talking about that and more coming up next. ESPN 1410 Wing AM, the best sports coverage in the Miami Valley. Welcome on in, off the bench, Chatterbox Sports. The Cincinnati Reds beat the Pittsburgh Pirates in a series, maybe. You got to win the next one.
I would love.
I'm going to say they won this series already.
I would love to beat the Pittsburgh Pirates in this series.
I would love to do it as well. Last night, obviously, if you watched the game, one player stood out among the rest. That was Elly De La Cruz. Elly De La Cruz was exceptional. Very rarely do you see anybody hit it on top of the riverboat. And Elly De La Cruz last night did that. I always love it, too, when Barry Larkin's talking in that monotone voice of his, and all of a sudden Sadak just has to cut in and just destroy whatever nonsensical point Barry was rambling on about as Elly hits a 440-foot moon blast to center field.
440-foot moon blast. His bat's on fire. Shout out to intern Jeremiah.
Oh, I didn't even see the bats on fire.
Flames on the bat, like an old
What?
game of Slugfest. Just a little bit of fire. Shout out to Jeremiah.
Wait,
intern.
there's fire on that?
A little bit.
Hold on.
bit.
Yeah, there is
Little
fire on
bit.
it. If you were listening on the radio, we showed a graphic and his bat was on fire. So that's what you missed there.
Now,
That's right. Well,
with all due to our radio listeners, I really hope they could have gotten that
Yeah, it's true.
without the explanation.
That's true.
yeah, even though we're probably cherry picking stats when we talk about how he's performed over the last month, he is on fire.
He is on fire.
You didn't like when I said that, did you?
You said it 30 seconds after you're like, well, Jonathan India over these last 15
Take
games.
that, India haters.
320. What a terrible time for the India haters. And I know we're cherry picking stats here, but over the last 15 games, Elly De La Cruz like, what? Like, what are we doing here?
The number was 17 games, so it was different than the 15.
So it was
30.
more than India's 15 games. It was a bigger sample size.
Yes. Last night the Reds looked good. Listen, I watched the first 7 innings of that game, and the Reds looked dominant. The last 2, obviously, who cares when you're up by 6 runs, respectfully. Fernando Cruz didn't look great, if you want to take one negative away from that, I guess. But Lucas Sims
Good
was
time for the one Fernando Cruz bad outing of the week.
It's true. Lucas Sims was fine. Justin Wilson struggled a little bit, but again, got out of the jam. So, yeah, the Reds, this one, it's hard to say it's must win. I'm hard to say it's can't lose when it's June 25th. And again, I hate to keep repeating all this. But it's true. I mean, you're just trying to tread water. I'd like the Reds to take that next step now. That's the big thing here. Take the next step and win tonight, please. Don't make it come down to that final game on Wednesday at 12:35 or 1:10, whenever it is. Please don't do that. Win it tonight, and let's just be done with this series.
Can I ask a question? By
Sure.
the way, since you brought up the Fernando Cruz, why is he brought in an 11-3 game? We already are talking about how he is being worn down. He's probably pitching too much. Why throw him in an 11-3 game?
I believe it was 3-2 when he came in.
No.
No?
No.
Didn't he come in the 6th?
He came in the 7th.
Or he come in the 7th?
He
Said
in
it
the
came
7th.
into the 7th when the
okay.
game
Never
was
mind then.
11-3.
Yeah, then I don't. If the big concern is that we can't use him in close games because of the usage,
I don't want to do this today, but can we agree that that's a bad managerial decision?
I mean, it depends who else was available to go. Fernando Cruz is not the only reliever that needs rest in there. So listen, sure.
His rest trumps all, except for Alexis Diaz. I feel like anybody could have thrown in an 11-3 game.
I don't disagree.
Why are you putting your
I don't
most
disagree.
dominant reliever in that spot?
Yeah,
I don't want to do
disagree.
it today. I just want to poke that. I don't know if that's been brought up. 11-3 game using Fernando Cruz seems very silly to me.
It's a good point.
I mean, I'd have to go look and see which relievers have been used lately, and I don't know that answer. So I can't say who's available and who wasn't available. If the Reds need a win, I'd like Fernando Cruz to pitch, and obviously he didn't pitch well last night. But again, I have no issue with it. Just go out there and pitch an inning of work and do your job. So Fernando Cruz again didn't really do his job, but the Reds won anyway, 11-5. Yeah, this is a game that if you look back on in about a week from now, you're going to feel really good on, and hopefully it's a momentum builder, or at least the start of one. The Reds have struggled since winning 7 in a row, 4-8 since winning 7 in a row, and last night felt like a Dodgers-esque victory Friday night at home with a packed house. I know that wasn't the case last night, but it felt like that coming into it. Because, again, this lineup, seemingly on paper, when they put it out, and it was, who was it? It was, so the first 5 were great. The first 4, I guess, were great. Sorry. Jonathan India, Ellie De La Cruz, Jeimer Candelario, Spencer Steer, Tyler Stevenson, great. First 5, great. Stuart Fairchild, Santiago Espinal, Levi Jordan, and Luke Maile. Nobody seriously thought the bottom 4 of that lineup were going to get on base, nonetheless get hits. And they had 3 hits. 3 guys of those 4 had hits. So, and all 4 of them got on base. So, yeah, the lineup pitched great against a decent pitcher in Bailey Falter. He's not one of their best guys, but a solid, serviceable pitcher. And the Reds being able to survive that was big. But last night was just a reminder that Ellie De La Cruz is the best Reds player on this team. He is the light. He is the spark. He is the electricity that keeps this engine running. And to see him go off last night was very, very cool. And by the way, the double he had, too. I don't know if...
So the single that he just ended up on second on?
That's the part of it where people will complain and they will cry after every little thing. And it's like, did you watch when Ellie De La Cruz got to second base on a routine base hit, on a routine single to center? Did you see it? Because nobody else in baseball does it. Nobody. There's no other professional baseball player that can make that move. Nobody. And that's what we have. That's our starting shortstop, Ellie De La Cruz. And if he's going to continue to be this hot, and hopefully Jonathan India stays this hot, hopefully that first 5 can get it together there. Without TJ Friedl, it's going to be a long road. Noelvi Marte, I believe, what's that day counter? He's at 3 days now? 4 days?
Yeah, end of this week, right?
So we're going to have Noelvi Marte to be a spark coming up soon. Just hold serve. Hold serve, beat the Pittsburgh Pirates, win this series. Please, God, don't make it come down to Wednesday afternoon. But great start last night.
Yeah. I mean, you got to win the game. Hunter Green's on the mound. Obviously, Mitch Keller has been pitching really well for the Pirates, but Hunter Green always gives you a chance to win. So you got to hope you give him some run support, which we obviously didn't do the last time he was out there against Pittsburgh. Seemingly never do when he's in Pittsburgh. Hopefully that changes in Cincinnati tonight.
Were you disappointed Were you disappointed David Bell didn't get the 31st ejection for the all-time lead?
I would have been. It would have made me laugh if he did it for the record in an 11-5 game that was done with no real reason to argue. I would have loved him to come out there and get thrown out just to get the record, but I think you save that for a big one. We're in New York, at Yankee Stadium on 4th of July.
Yeah.
Let's break the record on 4th of July.
Please.
Get some fireworks.
I would absolutely love that. Jonathan India, real quick, just to give a couple minutes to my guy here. Jonathan India, obviously over the last month, I read those stats. He's been phenomenal. Not just good, he's been phenomenal. He's been good defensively, too. Reed, I don't know if we have those stats. What is defensive, if he's still negative WAR, whatever that is, those nonsensical defensive stats that I don't care about, but they do matter because I'm a casual baseball fan, I guess. Nonetheless, I feel like he's been better defensively. If you watch the games, he's been much calmer, much more relaxed. I know he had that terrible throw, whatever night that was on Sunday afternoon. I know he had a terrible throw, but despite that, I felt like his glove has been much better, and he's been more confident at the second base position. If there was ever a time to keep Jonathan India there, it would be right now. Is Noelvi Marte going to take his spot away, or does he take third and Jeimer goes to first?
Oh, he takes third.
Takes third, Jeimer goes to first, right? That's the obvious move.
Jeimer's not even playing third
now.
I don't know that he's healthy enough to.
To answer your question about Jonathan India playing second base, it has been better. He's got 2 outs above average, which puts him in the 82nd percentile. But if you look at
Last year was
baseball
-6.
reference defensive WAR, he is at negative. He's half of a game, negative half of 0.5, negative 0.5.
Interesting.
So,
And this is
conflicting reports.
From 8th percentile last year, -6 outs overall to, like he said, 82nd +2. So it's still big improvement.
Big improvement by Jonathan India if he can stay healthy. Again, this is all relying upon health with a lot of these guys. If Jeimer Candelario can fight through this, Ellie De La Cruz, another part of Ellie De La Cruz, my favorite part about him, and I'm going to knock on every piece of wood in this studio immediately after this show, really hasn't shown any signs of injury concern. Knock on all of the wood you can everywhere, but he has been healthy. With as aggressive as he plays, stretching singles into doubles, stealing 45 bases a season, everything that he does, incredible throws, the range is short.
The worst.
I know, but I have to talk about it because this team is ravaged by injuries every single season. And the best ability, I firmly believe, is availability. Nick Senzel didn't have that ability in him. You're looking at Matt McClain, I'm concerned he doesn't have the ability in him. I'm looking at TJ Friedel. Does he have the ability in him? And I know a lot of these are fluke injuries. But at the end of the day, if you're not on the field, I can't say if you're a good player or not. And Ellie De La Cruz has been there playing every single day at what seemingly is 100%. So if he's able to stay healthy like this, I mean, you have a generational superstar, and it's like there's no need to complain over any little mistake he makes. I know I'm jinxing it. But I knock on the wood if you're listening right now. Knock on the dashboard. Knock everywhere. But I do think it's important to note that he has been able to stay healthy through his aggressive play style.
I do hold my breath every single time he slides because I just feel like he's so awkward sliding in the bags and the way he contorts his body and everything. I hate it, but it's what makes him great. So you got to live with it.
He's still got the super glove on there. I know a lot of guys use that, but his glove I feel like is even more decked out when he slides into a base. It looks like legit a superhero when he's wearing that thing.
He had one that it was decorated like the gingerbread man.
Really?
The other
Yeah.
day, yeah.
It was very cool.
I do want to put this caveat in here while we're talking about, because I know we don't like talking about this thing about Ellie's health and stuff like that. You are not injury prone until you are. Like, it doesn't happen until it happens. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, but
also his build and the way he plays isn't copacetic for a long. It's normally the stockier guys, that have less injury. The guys built like Spencer Steer, built like that, than it is the tall, slender guys.
And that's 100%. But I'm just saying, as the past 1.5 seasons have unfolded, the Reds have lost a lot of guys due to injury. Ellie De La Cruz has not been one of them. I just think it's important to note.
Guy we lost again, now TJ Friedel. He's one I'm really starting to have questions for. Obviously, he was a little older when he came up, never really broke on the scene until last year as a really dominant player. And then, obviously, he hasn't been quite as good this year, but still a massive, massive difference in this Reds lineup and a big catalyst for how this team plays. And he's back down on IL. Kirby put in the chat earlier today that they're talking about mid-July for him to come back. I mean, that's just brutal.
People are going to look at Stuart Fairchild after this season, and maybe not everybody, but people like me who doubted Stuart Fairchild, who made fun of Stuart Fairchild, said he wasn't a serious baseball player, and they are going to thank Stuart Fairchild for what he's done this season. Because, listen, you can't replicate a 4-WAR player. It's hard to do that. And he's come in this season, and he's been more than serviceable in center field. His throws, bad. Can't throw a baseball. But that's beside the point. Offensively, against left-handed pitching, he's been maybe the best on the team, if not one of the best on the team. And his glove in center field is better than pretty much anybody else's glove on the diamond except for Ellie De La Cruz. So that's what Stuart Fairchild has meant to this ball club while TJ Friedel's been dealing with this. And TJ, again, fluke injuries. He dove for a ball in center field, injured, but to start the season, took a ball to the wrist, unfortunate, and then the hammy. So it's hard for me to criticize guys based on injuries, but it's one of those things where if you're not on the field, I just can't say you're going to be a great player. It's just one of those things. So I agree with Jacob, and it's unfortunate. I hope he's able to get healthy. Hopefully he's able to come back in that 12-day window, and we'll see going forward. But that's it. Speaking of the Reds, I have one more top talking point. Jacob and I kind of already discussed it, but it'll be regarding Carson Spires. And we're going to do that in just a bit. So we're going to take a quick little break. We're going to do our personal ads on YouTube. If you're listening on your car, in your car or on your radio, thank you very much. ESPN 1410 Wing AM. Shout out to all of you people, you beautiful people in Dayton. Thank you very much for listening. We'll be right back. And we're off radio. Reed,
Yo.
it's time for ads.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Thank you for being here today. If you are watching, please give us a like. We love and appreciate every single one of you guys, every single person that watches the show, especially you, Brian B. You're my guy. Keep bringing the positivity in the chat. Stay strong, big guy. Stay strong. By the way, Trace got on my butt a bit for that take about wondering why Fernando Cruz is in the game. I want to specify real quick that I don't care either way. I just thought it was a curious decision because I know that one thing has been brought up is, are we overusing Fernando Cruz? And if that's the case, if that's a concern you have, why throw him in an 11-3 game? I understand that he was probably warming up, and that's what Kirby brought in and said that he was warming up in a 7-3 game. That's all fine and dandy. After you score 4 runs, sit him down. Let's get somebody else up and moving. Once again, don't care either way, but we'll get into these ads. Thank you to Encore Technologies. Encore Technologies provides IT solutions for a data-centered world with a suite of services from mobile computing to desktop to data centers, supporting both centralized and work-from-home computing modules to improve efficiency and
Productivity.
That's right, Jimbo. Visit Encore.tech. The path to innovation begins here. And I've got a question. I've got a question for Jimmy. I've got a question for Jacob. I've got a question for Elliot. And then that question is are you drinking regular water? And did you know that alkaline water has been shown to have superior hydration benefits versus regular water in a clinical study? There is a new premium alkaline water out there, and that's Pawnee. I saw the Pawnee guys yesterday. Talked to them. They're wonderful, wonderful people. So please help them and buy their product. It is made right here in Hamilton, Ohio. It uses natural limestone filtration, unlike artificial processing that other brands use. And one thing that I really like about it is go and look at the other alkaline waters. Go look at the ingredients they have to put. What the ingredients are there. There'll be saline solutions and all this different salts. When you look at the Pawnee bottle of water, one thing goes in this bottle, and it's water, and it's the best tasting water in the world. So thank you so much.
Can I say my favorite part about Pawnee?
You can find Pawnee Water. You can visit their website at pawneewater.com. That's PAHHNI water.com to see where you can find this great tasting product. What is your favorite thing about Pawnee Water?
I drink some of those other brand waters, and
Gross.
In my house right now is unfortunately in a place where we don't have clean drinking water, as my parents fix up the pipes. We live in a very old house, and our pipes, I'm pretty sure, are filled with lead. So if I get lead poisoning at some point, that's on my parents. Shout out to them. But we've been having to drink a lot of bottled water, and my house is filled everywhere with Pawnee water. It's gotten me through this tough time. And the best part about it is that, A, there's no lead in it because that's what's in our pipes, and B, it goes down the gullet nice and easy. That's my favorite part about Pawnee water.
Yeah, listen, there was just the worst take in the history of our chat, causing a catastrophe, said that he prefers Great Value water over Pawnee. What a terrible take. What a terrible take. Pawnee's the best tasting water in the world. Find out where you can get that product at pawneewater.com. Thank you so much, Pawnee. Then our final ad, Game Time. Game Time. Jimbo, while I do this ad, you pull up the Game Time app on your phone and you figure out how much it costs to go to 3-2-1 night tonight. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code OTB for $20 off your first purchase. Yes, you heard that right. Code OTB to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code OTB. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guarantee. That is a guarantee that they have. And the beautiful thing about when you use the Game Time app, so user friendly. The user interface is absolutely fantastic. It shows you exactly where you're going to sit at Great American Ballpark, and it tells you the exact price. And the mobile delivery system, get those tickets right away. How much tonight to go to 3-2-1 night where you can drink a lot of threes, eat a lot of twos, and cool off with a one?
Tickets starting all-in pricing at $20 tonight on the Game Time app.
There you go, $20. So for $20, you can go to the game. You throw in an extra $10. You get 2 beers and 2 hot dogs. For $30, go down to watch the Reds play the Pirates today. Mitch Keller versus Hunter Green should be a good pitching duel. And we'll be getting back to the Reds in a second when we go back live. That was fun. I had fun doing those little ad reads.
You did good.
Before the radio, Jimmy sent a little nugget, a little fun soccer stat. Elliot, I'm sure you're going to love this. It's
Yeah,
your
I
favorite
saw it in the
sport.
chat and I ignored it.
Romania and Slovakia guaranteed qualification for the 2024 Euros by passing the ball around for 90 minutes straight and tying 0-0.
Wow.
Both teams will qualify.
I mean, this sport stinks.
Remember when that could have happened in the NFL?
Yes.
And they didn't? I
'Cause
was
it's
so
a real
mad.
sport.
I was so mad because it just objectively the right call as a franchise. Because I remember that this happened a couple years ago. It was Chargers versus Raiders, final game of the year. Whoever won was in. But if they tied, they both made the postseason. And I remember arguing. I wish we had the show back then because I don't think it was before. It was the moments before off the bench and us doing. I remember arguing with people. Why don't you just take the tie? That's what the fan bases like. The fan bases would prefer a playoff game. The franchises would prefer a playoff game. And instead, they actually played the game and still almost tied if the Chargers' terrible, terrible coach wouldn't have called that timeout to get the ball back and ended up just kicking the field goal. The Raiders did. And that's how we played the Raiders in the postseason. So it all worked out.
Jacob
we could have had Herbert versus Burrow for the first ever playoff game for the two.
Yeah.
Jacob also forgot the second half of that tweet that says, former Romania international Danu Lupu has also claimed
Excuse
that-
me?
Who?
I don't know how to say
Read it. Let's try it again.
Danu Lupu
Okay. I thought I heard something else.
has also claimed that a draw has been arranged between his nation and Slovakia at Euro 2024.
They're drawing again. They're doing it again?
No, they're saying
Oh.
that the two teams have already decided to draw 0-0.
That's so dumb.
So I sent that to my friends, and you can get draw at plus 109 and exact score 0-0 at plus 430.
Hold on. Did we just beat Vegas?
It's awesome whenever you just like outsmart Vegas.
I think we just did it.
Or you think you're
Jimmy,
outsmarting me.
Jimmy, I want to apologize. Everett said I was being mean to you when I said that just then. I thought you said poo-poo.
I figured you thought I said poo-poo.
So I had to interrupt.
It's okay. It's okay.
Any other breaking soccer news?
You want to get this back on the
Nope.
show?
There are
Back
4
on the
matches
rails?
today, though.
Thank God. Okay. All right. 5 seconds of silence. Welcome back in. We are off the bench. Elliot Rearing here. Jacob Tissett here talking about the Cincinnati Reds. Tonight's matchup, again, we talked about it a little bit earlier on, but this is going to be a great game. Mitch Keller versus Hunter Green. Hunter Green has been absolutely phenomenal this season. He's been, again, if you have to give a team MVP to a non-Ellie De La Cruz, it's probably Hunter Green. Mitch Keller has also been very good. Mitch Keller is rocking a 3.11 ERA with 85 strikeouts and a 1.20 whip. Hunter Green has a 3.35 ERA with 98 strikeouts and a 1.2 whip. Both these guys are dynamite. It'll be a low-scoring game tonight. It'll be a pitcher's duel at GABP between these two guys. Hopefully, again, as Jacob said earlier on, the Reds' offense can show up and show out for our good friend Hunter Green. We gave a little bit of credit to David Bell earlier on, so I'm going to give some more credit to David Bell. Fernando Cruz had not pitched in back-to-back games, and the game before that, he came in for 1 out. So he was needing to go to work anyway.
Once again, I don't care either way. I was just taking in the information that I known, and I know that a talking point had been concern over the usage rate of Fernando Cruz. The only guy that threw 70-plus games, I believe, last year for the Reds was Ian Jabot, and he's been hurt all year long, and I know that we've had concerns about that. Throwing a guy that you've had overuse concerns about an 11-3 game, regardless of the last time he pitched, just doesn't seem to me, unless it's been a week and a half. We're talking 3 days. So once again, I don't care either way. It in the grand scheme of things, it probably won't matter. But it seemed like there was a conflicting report there.
I also think, again, I would like the Reds to win the game, and you give the Reds the best chance despite the score. You know, at any game, don't take any game for granted, and if you use that mentality with your best reliever who has not pitched in multiple days, and the game before that, he came in for 1 out. I would have no issue with this whatsoever. So
Okay, Cruz is thrown one time in a week. Do we or Diaz is thrown one time in a week? Do we throw him in an 11-3 game? No.
No, but I think that's vastly different.
Is it? How
It's
is it
not.
different?
How is it different?
Because he's the closer.
Fernando Cruz is just as good, if not better.
But he's not the closer. If we want to make Fernando Cruz the closer, let's do it. I'm all for it. I want it to happen.
I still think you.
Well, now we're just talking roles.
Yeah,
and roles,
no,
roles don't overchange usage rate or anything like that. It doesn't change. If you won't do it for the closer that needs to get work, then why would you do it for the setup? Once again, I don't want to get wrapped up because in the grand scheme of things, it just doesn't matter. I was just curious why he was thrown in an 11-3 game when we just last week were talking about if we're overusing Fernando Cruz.
It's fair. Continuing on, though, Carson Spires. Last night for the Reds, I was talking with Jacob about this before the show, and now on the show we're going to do it, and obviously we did a little bit at the beginning of the show, too. Carson Spires hopefully will be here till the end of the season. I think, again, no knock on Graham Ashcraft.
Yeah.
Graham Ashcraft was solid this season. I don't think he had it from what he had last year, because there was a point last year Graham Ashcraft, I think there was a month stretch where he was one of the best pitchers in the National League. And this season, it just wasn't that. It wasn't close to that. He wasn't going deep into games. He was throwing a lot of pitches. He was our workhorse. He had, in 62 innings this season, he gave up 70 hits, 35 earned runs, 9 home runs for an ERA of 5.05. Clearly, something was off with our guy, Graham Ashcraft. I don't think anybody's writing him off. It's just one of those things where it's time to get him some work. And it became a theory a while ago where sending a guy down to AAA is some sort of deadly punishment. It's not. It's not a punishment. I mean, in some instances, I'm sure it is. But, again, for Graham Ashcraft, the Reds are fighting for every single game. You need every start to matter. Graham Ashcraft getting sent down with a 5 ERA for Carson Spires, who's objectively been very, very good. No issue with it at all, and I hope that continues. Again, no knock on Ashcraft, but I'd love to not see him up the rest of the year.
Because
that would mean Carson Spires has done his job. And there's been a couple, small heroes, I'll call them, unlikely heroes this season. We mentioned Stuart Fairchild early. If Carson Spires is able to do this consistently for the next month or so, he will be one of them. He'll be one of the more unlikely heroes on this Reds pitching staff.
Well, I was going to just say, when you get to the back end of your rotation, I know we trolled Carson Spires when he played up against Paul Skeens, but he ended up throwing 6 innings and giving up 4 earned runs. If you get 6 innings, 3-4 ball game from your 5th starter, you can't ask for much more. And I don't want to overreact from 2 starts. I'm just saying that, that's exactly what you want from the back end of a rotation.
Yeah, for sure. And I forget who pointed it out last night, but Frankie Montas obviously has fallen down the rotation since the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
But if you compare his numbers now to a 5th starter, a 4th starter in a rotation, he's been pretty good. So
absolutely,
this Reds rotation is really rounding out to be a pretty solid group, top to bottom. It's not just the 3 dogs that we always talk about in Lodolo, Green, and Abbott.
Yeah, I was looking at the 2024 MLB pitching staff rankings, and the Reds I think are top 10 this season against in batting average against. They have a .235 batting average against. So the Reds have been, and it's no secret, we've been talking about it for a month now. The Reds pitching has been the thing keeping them in games. The offense has been so spotty and inconsistent that you can't rely on really anybody outside of Ellie De La Cruz and Jamier Candelario. And to have these guys come up and be as good as they've been. Does anybody in our bullpen have a 4 ERA?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm gonna look at the Reds.
I got you.
I'm gonna look at the Red stats right now.
Elliot loves asking for stats in real time.
Yeah,
Alexis Diaz has a 5 ERA.
Alexis
right.
Diaz is he the only one?
Nick Martinez has a 4.25.
But as
before
a
Pagan,
reliever, it's not.
before Pagan got hurt, he had a 4.4. Justin Wilson has a 5.9.
Oh, Justin Wilson does have a 5.9. Okay.
But Brent Suter, Buck Farmer, Fernando Cruz all under 4. Lucas Sims under 4. Lucas Sims with a better ERA than Fernando Cruz.
Sam Mole 0.0 ERA.
Sam Mole, believe it or not, Sam Mole getting sent down because he was the only guy on the staff with options. That didn't ruin the Reds season. In fact, they've been playing their best ball of the season since that happened. So the overreactions of fans is always awesome. across the board, not just Reds fans.
What was your favorite overreaction? Your favorite Reds fandom overreaction just this season alone?
The general population not realizing Mike Ford was 30 years old.
Yeah,
and
that was a good one.
was
That's an
not
underrated
good,
one.
Not a good player for his entire MLB career, and they thought he was the next Ellie coming up out of AAA.
I've got two. The Ellie De La Cruz game where he had committed 3 errors in
That's
Philadelphia.
the best.
That was certainly a fun one when everybody said send him down.
Everybody.
Was I one of them?
Being you.
Maybe. I might have said it. I didn't mean it, though, and everybody knows I didn't mean it. Listen, I say most of what I say on the show in jest because when I have to answer my nonsensical takes in the future, I say I was joking. So, Jacob, I was joking.
Good.
One guy I wasn't joking about, and Reed and I were talking about it yesterday, Jamier Candelario. The freak out over Jamier Candelario, and that included me. I was concerned. I think most Reds fandom had a fair reason to be concerned because the last several bats, free agent bats, in fact, arguably outside of Nick Castellanos, we haven't had a free agent bat under the Castellinis that have really worked out. And you can say whatever you want. Especially over the last 10 years, we haven't had it. Jamier Candelario has been phenomenal, arguably the best hitter on the team. Over his last 30 games, he's hitting 280 with a 330 OBP and a 600 slug. He's been everything that we thought he could be. The back of the baseball card thing has lived up to the hype. So shout out to Jamier Candelario. And shout out to this Reds fan base. Reds fan base.
True.
Listen, we get it wrong a lot of the
It's every
time,
fan
but
base.
we have fun doing it.
It's not a completely unique thing to Reds. It's pretty much across the board overreactions from every fan. It's a short for fanatic. It's short for fanatic, so that's what we do here. That's what we do. We do overreact. My favorite, if you're asking what the favorite overreaction is, and I love Tom to death. We love. I remember one day on Dialed In, Tom came in here after Elliot was struggling, and he said bringing up the stats because Elliot was going through, and he's like, no one's going to talk about sending down Ellie De La Cruz. But
Yeah.
Would it help?
It's just one of those things. Ellie De La Cruz is fine. He's 22 years old. We were going over players yesterday that you could maybe build an MLB franchise with, and we were talking about guys.
we're going to do that segment at some point.
We were talking about guys that I didn't know was like Yordan Alonso from the Astros. I thought he was like 32 years old.
Close. You were close.
Close.
Jordan Alvarez.
What did I say?
Alonso.
Sorry, my brain. Yordan Alvarez for the Astros. Sorry, I thought he was 32. 26. He's 26 years old. He's a veteran. He's a bona fide great player in Major League Baseball. 26. Ellie De La Cruz is 4 years younger than him. That's just how little he's been in the league. It's the career of Ellie De La Cruz has barely even just begun. And to any fan just overreacting constantly, calling him Cruz on Facebook, those are my favorite. Just calling
They had
Ellie,
a hell of a night last night with another Cruz at shortstop. They had to be so confused.
They did. Listen, the Reds Facebook people, those are. But yeah, it's one of those things. Don't overreact. I try not to overreact. I overreact with every win and loss, but I try not to overreact with these players anymore. I will continue to do it because that's who I am, and that's what I'll always be when it comes to this team. But I try not to.
A general rule of thumb to go by when talking about young players and stuff like that is genuinely bringing up their age. Like when a guy's 19 or 20 and he makes it into the MLB, those hit at such a high rate. We're talking Bryce Harper's. We're talking Mike Trout's. We're talking Justin Upton's. If you break into the league at 19, 20 years old, you are going to be fantastic. And the same thing almost goes for 21. It's not perfect, but when a guy breaks in like Ellie De La Cruz did at 21 years old, the hit rate on those guys are so high as compared to the opposite, which are when guys break in at age 26, 27. Yeah, there are some guys, like Aaron Judge was a rookie, I believe, at 26, and he's obviously the best hitter in the league. But I'm just saying, like, a general rule of thumb is if they come up when they're 20, 21 years old, they're probably pretty dang good baseball players. They just need a little time.
It's a fair point.
That is a fair point. And final note from last night's Reds game, and then we will move on to something else. I will say this. Levi Jordan, I mentioned it earlier on. I don't think he's going to be here for a long time.
I would assume
based
not.
on Noelvi Marte returning very soon. But I'm going to remember Levi Jordan. I'm going to remember Levi Jordan coming up. It's one of those things where if you get to see a player who lives out his dream, sticks with it to the age of 28.
Quit baseball a couple times.
Say in the interview, again, he's never had anybody cheer for him like that, being in front of a home crowd with that many people. He's never experienced anything like that. To have that happen last night in an 11-5 victory, very, very cool, and I will not forget it.
Hope you can get a couple more at-bats in the next couple days.
I agree. I think he will. So I think he will play.
Right.
Good. That's the good news, because God knows the Reds need offense. Any little bit of it they can find, and if Levi Jordan can contribute, I hope he does make an impact going forward with somebody. It might not be the Cincinnati Reds, but I hope it's with somebody at 28 years old.
Before we send it to break, a little tease to start the next segment. EA College Football released their top 10 hardest places to play in the video game. See what you guys think.
Really? That game is going to break every record, right?
It's going to be the biggest sports game of all time, for sure.
I hate when that's
It's going to be the biggest sports
Elliot
game,
always
for sure.
says every record.
Yeah.
Sports records, and I'm still putting in sports records as a maybe.
I think it'll kill him.
As a maybe, because we're talking FIFA, which is worldwide. FIFA
That's
sells
true.
worldwide.
Well, sports video games.
In America,
Not soccer video games.
in America, it will do well. But like, I don't think you guys realize
How many people like Call of Duty?
well, Call of Duty, I don't even think is like a top 10 sale.
GTA?
It's GTA 5, which is 11 years old, is the top grossing media ever. I don't think you realize how big video games are either. Video games at 1 year made more money than sports, music, and movie combined.
Yeah, it's wild. We're going to talk about sports, music, and movies combined up next. ESPN 1410, Wing AM, the best sports coverage in the Miami Valley. We are Off the Bench, Chatterbox Sports. We'll be right back with you. Welcome on in. We are Chatterbox Sports. We are Ohio. Listen, we're done with the Reds. The Reds are back at it tonight, 7:10. We'll see everybody there, 3-2-1 night. But going on, we were talking about segments to round out the show today, and we thought we were going to explain this one to me, because last night's Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals was a great game. Was it one of the greatest games of all time? I don't know, but it made us think, right?
Yeah, anytime that you get something truly special, because this is what we watch sports for, is like we watch it for our own teams, and then on a grand scale, you wait for these awesome moments within the sport. What are the best sports moments that we can remember? And I exclusively made it to championships. So it doesn't have to be like who the best champion teams are or what it was the best game. It's just moments that we remember, and a couple ones just to kind of get it in your. This is one that Jacob wanted to throw out. This is one of his top moments of favorite championship moments of all time, and that's LeBron's block.
Yeah, LeBron's block, 2016, coming back from 3-1 in the finals. A lot of people remember Kyrie's shot as well to end that game, but this championship for LeBron this night was, for me at least, when he passed Jordan, bringing that championship back to Cleveland. First time they've ever won anything of meaning, at least recently. And that parade was the second biggest sporting gathering of all time behind Chicago, and it's unbelievable moment, unbelievable thing for the city. Ohio's only championship.
It's the second most important championship for its team ever, right?
Like, who's saying is one?
Cubs in 2016.
Okay.
You said it's just the largest sports the Cubs
second.
The Cubs rally was the biggest non-religious gathering.
That's crazy.
In the history of mankind.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, but still, that was Game 7, right?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Yeah, Game 7 down 3-1. Obviously, you've won 2. Before that, and you're going back to Oracle. The Warriors had only lost, I think it was 5 games in Oracle Arena that year. Goes in, tears it up. Yeah, and everything since 2016 has been icing on the cake.
3-1, coming down from 3-1. The storylines in that series too, with Steph throwing the mouthpiece at the kid, Draymond getting suspended. Everything that culminated to that championship was incredible. The storylines were never higher in the NBA, not for me in my lifetime, up until the moment. I still was a Cavs fan too. I cheered on the Cavaliers pretty heavily. I was a LeBron guy. I was a Cavs guy. And seeing that, I remember it was played on my birthday. It was played on my birthday party, I believe, or my sister's birthday party, excuse me. And I was watching at my house. None of my family cared about the NBA. None of them. It was just me on the TV. And I remember when the block happened, I audibly gasped. I audibly gasped because that's how cool it was.
It's one of the most amazing sports plays.
I still have the picture of LeBron with the trophy in my bedroom, so I still have that with me. Very cool moment. Very cool moment.
Well, let's go ahead and do another LeBron championship moment, but it didn't have to do with LeBron, but that's the Ray Allen 3. I have very few does it go away? And back. Ray Allen 3, because I don't have many NBA memories. That was cool. Ray Allen getting that rebound, or it was Chris Bosh out to Ray Allen and hitting that 3 for that was LeBron's first championship. No? That was his first championship, no?
Yeah, it was.
13.
Yeah, it was just an incredible moment.
That was one, again, you talk about funny moments. The game was in Miami, and all of those fake fans left before that moment. It was the famous shot is when the cameras go to the exits, and they wouldn't let the fans back in. So all these fans were banging on the gates to get back in after this 3 was made. And Jacob did mention something funny before the show. I'll let him do it, not me. The whole narrative was Ray Allen saved LeBron's career.
Yeah, Ray Allen saved LeBron's career, got LeBron a ring. That's awesome. Thank you, Ray Allen. Just friendly reminder, LeBron had 36, 12, and 13 in that game. So
Pretty good.
Shout out Jesus Shuttleworth, Ray Allen.
Was that a Mike Breen game? Was that a
it was
that a bang?
one of the first playoff bangs.
That was the first playoff bang. Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that was awesome.
This next one was pitched by Jimmy. We'll keep it on the hardwood. Chris Jenkins, buzzer beater?
Yeah, I think when people think of March Madness, at least when I think of March Madness, I always think of this game in 2016. Chris Jenkins hit the buzzer beater to win the national championship against North Carolina. And Jacob also brought up that that's probably the second best shot of the game, even though it was
It's what won, though.
That won the national championship.
That Marcus Page shot is
when Marcus
insane.
Page hit the double clutch falling down 3
With what was that, 5 seconds, 7 seconds?
right before. And I think that this game, when you think of March Madness and you think of all the crazy buzzer beaters, the month-long tournament, watching basketball all day on the weekends, but I think this national championship game, the way that it ended is March Madness.
I think one of the best March Madness moments wasn't even made, and that's Gordon Hayward almost making it. What other sport has a moment to where they didn't even win? It just almost happened, and you're just oh man, like that's what I think of when I think of March Madness.
Well, almost happened. Armando Galarraga.
Yeah, Armando Galarraga. It did happen.
I will say, like, what encapsulates, and that's kind of what Jimmy was saying, what encapsulates March Madness is a buzzer beater like that. There will never be a tournament that ends as perfectly as that with a game-tying shot, double clutch, double defenders in his face from 50 feet away. Page making that 3 to tie the game, and then going down there, Chris Jenkins, a guy that really, again, I don't know where he's at today. Is he a coach somewhere? We don't know.
I think he's playing in. I don't want to guess. He's playing overseas.
I was gonna say he's not in the NBA. He was just a guy that kind of was just a college kid. It wasn't a professional NBA guy. He was just a college kid draining a shot. You'll have that for the rest of his life. If he ever quits basketball, which I don't think he will, but if he ever does quit basketball, he goes into some regular job. You just get to have the picture of you hitting the game-winning championship shot on the trophy case behind you, which is pretty damn cool.
Yep.
All right, we'll switch it over to baseball. I told these guys I wasn't going to do the Cubs thing because I think you guys would murder me. Although I think that is the best.
It's one of mine.
I think it's the best Game 7 of all time, regardless of sport. But I won't say it's the best baseball game that I've ever seen, because I think actually the best baseball game I've ever seen happened in 2017, the very next year. When I saw Game 7 in 2016, I thought no baseball game would ever top it. 2017, Game 5. I don't know. I think I was pitching this to you guys beforehand. If you haven't seen highlights, if you want to go back and watch highlights of any baseball game ever, it should be 2017, Game 5. The Houston Astros beat the Los Angeles Dodgers 13-12. And it was insane because throughout the entire game, what happened was whoever the Dodgers would score 4 runs, and then Kershaw would give up 5 runs in the bottom half of the inning. And then the Dodgers would take a 4-run lead. There were 9 home runs hit in this game. 9 home runs hit in this game at Minute Maid Park, and this led to the Astros' first championship ever. It does suck that it is tarnished now. Yeah. It is tarnished now, but it was a walk-off win by Alex Bregman. It was great. You guys should go watch highlights of this game if you haven't seen it.
I have an honorable mention. Can I say an honorable mention?
Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't get to pitch this to you right before the show, but in 2001, the Arizona Diamondbacks walking off. Who was it? The Yankees? Who'd they walk off? I think it was the Yankees.
They walk off the Yankees.
It was
to save a 4-peat.
It was Luis Gonzalez walked him off with a base hit in Game 7 of the World Series. That's a feeling like I'll never feel that in my life. Shout out to the Reds. But that would be absolutely electric to walk off a Game 7. Absolutely incredible. You didn't have the Chicago thing up there. That Chicago Game 7 against Cleveland is one of the best baseball games I've ever seen in my entire life. I was with my dad, and shout out to the Diamondbacks. Tom Brenneman, honorary member of the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, broadcaster. There we go. Got that in the studio.
That game rocked. Wasn't able to watch it because I was 2 years old, but that game rocked. The Cubs game, I was watching with my dad, and everything that happened in that one too. Every game-tying home run, every clutch moment. I remember LeBron was there. The rain delay. How long of a rain delay was it? An hour and a half?
17. What if I told you 17 minutes of rain
Was that it?
could wash away 108 years of drought?
That's really good. Did you say that? Or just
Yeah, no, that's a Reed original.
I have a shirt that says that. No, it was awesome. That if you want to know why I feel like I even brought up the Fernando Cruz thing earlier today, is because that happened at a much higher scale in that 2016 World Series. Aroldis Chapman threw Game 6. It was 14-5. And he threw the 9th inning of Game 6, and then he gave up a home run to Rajai Davis, who hit like 6 home runs in his life. And he just didn't have it. He just didn't have it anymore. So yeah, that's why I even brought that up. Yeah, the Game 7, you guys always talk about rewatching the Super Bowl and stuff like that, or AFC Championship. I don't rewatch Bengals games. I have rewatched Game 7 in its entirety a dozen times, and it's so awesome. I mean, Joe Madden put on an absolute terrible. Managing that whole series. He even said before that game, because Kyle Hendricks started it through well, John Lester came in relief, and they said the only way John Lester will pitch in Game 7 is if he had a clean inning. They threw him in right in the middle of an inning, and he gave up 2 runs, put one off the face mask of David Ross, and then David Ross came up the next inning and hit a home run off Andrew Miller. I don't think had given up a home run in the postseason. Like it was like 30 innings without giving up a run, and 42-year-old David Ross hit one.
Do you think if Cleveland won that World Series game, if they were the winners, that would still be one of the greatest games? Like, will it be remembered as it was?
Yeah, so I don't know if you knew this, but those were the 2 longest droughts.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, it was 1948 is the last Guardians championship.
And it took place in Cleveland, which would have been crazy. But I think the Cubs winning that was obviously.
Yeah, I have another baseball one that I'll throw in here for the last time, and it's one of maybe the greatest performances from a superstar in a baseball game, and that's the David Freese game.
Oh yeah.
He created a whole career after a game because it was absolutely phenomenal, and that's one of the best baseball games that I've ever seen. Obviously, I'm way too young to watch the Carlton Fisk game against the Cincinnati Reds where he waved it fair. I have seen Good Will Hunting, so I know about it. The David Freese game forever is just one of the greatest performances that I've seen by a single athlete who's not a superstar.
His whole Hall of Fame Cardinals debacle is still one of the weirdest things I've ever heard about in pro sports.
Explain. I'm 4.
So he was on the ballot for the Cardinals Hall of Fame for almost a decade, and he finally got in. And he goes, nah, I don't think I deserve it. I shouldn't be in.
Yeah.
He left his name on the ballot for almost a full decade. And then as soon as he got inducted, he said he wasn't good enough. He thought it was just a knock on who was already in the Cardinals' fame to put a guy like him in.
Just because it was pretty much just one game.
Just because of one game.
Yeah.
But he left his name on the ballot for a decade.
My dad. So my dad, who coached here in town, he won 2 state titles as the head coach at Baden in the 90s. He's in Butler County's Hall of Fame. He's in Baden's Hall of Fame. When I was in college, he was called up by the Ohio High School Baseball or the Coaches Association and said, hey, you've been selected to join our Hall of Fame. And he accepted. And he calls all of us up, and he's like, hey, I just got accepted. We're like, Dad, that's awesome. When is it? Put it in the calendar. They send out the press release of everything. It's like happening in 3 weeks. And my college coach, who, by the way, I saw on Sunday at the
Met him.
Superfest. Yeah, I said, hey, nice to meet you. I meant to say, good to see you. That was pretty embarrassing. But, yeah, so he calls me and he's like, hey, you want to go? You want to sit together? And I'm like, yeah, let's sit together, coach. So he gets a table at the Hall of Fame induction. My dad a week later goes, I don't feel like I deserve it. So he just denied it. And I was like, Dad, you already accepted it. They sent the press release out. He's like, I don't want to ruin the Hall of Fame. I don't deserve it. It's just like, Dad, what are we doing?
Guys who deny it, they earn it more. They deserve it more.
I don't even care about the denying it. It's if you don't think you belong on the ballot or in the Hall of Fame, take your name off the ballot any time in the previous 8 years.
Yeah, but I think he was like, well, I'm not going to win this, so who cares?
Yeah, he probably thought he wasn't going to get in.
I guess that's fair.
But nonetheless, that game did have one of my favorite calls. I know people don't like that call, but I love that Joe Buck call. We will see you tomorrow night.
Yep,
I love
game
that
6.
one.
I think it's
It was
great,
game 6. So let's run through because I think we're running out of time.
We are out of time
We are out of time. Okay, well we'll do it live on the
on the post show.
post show.
If you would like to see the post show, go to Chatterbox Sports on YouTube. Thank you very much, Radio Crowd, for listening. This has been Jimmy Collins, Reed Mouse, Jacob Tissett, and Elliot Rearing. We have been Off the Bench, Chatterbox Sports, presented by and will always be presented by our favorite farmers, United Dairy Farmers. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant Tuesday afternoon. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We're good.
Yep, we're good.
We're good.
I'm gonna have to cut that up after the show. But yeah, we'll do this. Some other ones, you guys. One of the coolest pictures ever is the 2019 Tiger Woods Masters.
Yeah.
Arguably a like few moments in here in my young life, you remember where you were wherever that was going to happen.
I have a long-lasting take now that this was the most united the country has ever been on a sports
I think I agree.
moment. Every single person was watching the Masters and rooting for Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was rooting for that comeback, and obviously he did it to do it at Augusta. You know, it probably wouldn't have the same weight. It'd still be very, very cool if he won a different major in 2019, but the fact that it was the Masters to get back over that hump, I mean, it was incredible.
We haven't seen a comeback like that maybe ever in sports, where not only was like your playing career kind of over, but your personal, like the personal persona that you once had was gone. It was tarnished based on the actions of yourself, no doubt about it. But everybody was against him for a long period of time there. And then to have everybody also come back to him at that moment in 2019 was incredible. I was at my dorm room in Toledo. Watching it by myself, believe it or not. I flipped on the TV and I was like, this is incredible. I've never seen anything like this, and to have him do that will always be one of my favorite moments in sports. And I still believe it can happen again. That's the craziest part about it, is it extended his career by infinite amounts, because he's just like, can Tiger Woods do it? Well, he shot like +8 at the U.S. Open. Yeah, but you remember 2019.
Yeah.
And you just go back to 2019, and I know he said like serious car accident, leg surgeries, back surgeries, every surgery in the world Tiger Woods has had. And maybe he won't ever win again. But him winning in 2019 gave me the hope that he can win again.
And I'll have that hope until he stops playing.
Correct. So, 100%.
That hope is gone from at
Yeah.
least this seat. Maybe this whole side of the room.
I
That
don't
hope
think
is
he's gonna
gone. I'll
win
get
again.
excited.
Listen,
I'll get
it was
excited.
I
it was
think he'll win
gone.
again.
It was gone in 2018 too.
Yeah, right.
It was
exactly.
long gone in 2018.
I think he can get one more.
I think it was more absurd the notion of him
To
winning.
suggest him winning in 2019 is crazier than to suggest him winning in
I agree.
2025.
I think so. I really do.
All right, so now that we're talking about things that people were rooting for, I think that as a country, we were rooting for this not to happen, and that is the Brady comeback against the Falcons. I think everyone was getting their kicks off of saying, oh, man, the Patriots are getting owned. They're down 28-3. What an embarrassment. We were all very happy that was happening. And then as the game goes on, you're just like, golly. I mean,
He
this
might
just
do it.
The craziest part about this warped the brains of football fans forever when it came to Tom Brady, that he could always do this now. And the same thing when he won with the Bucs. Because remember that final Brady team? Because they were good the year after they won. I think they won 13 games. But then they were 7-10 and made the postseason the year after, and everyone's just like, I don't know, Brady might win it. Who knows? It's like, no, Brady, this team's terrible. But this is what we could talk about the Bucs cementing Brady's legacy. This cemented Brady's legacy for me.
I feel like the only reason I say the Bucs one, this was bigger for Brady in the terms of like GOAT conversation, everything like that. The Bucs one just cut the Belichick, killed the Belichick did it narrative. That's the only reason I lean Bucs one, not even for anything Brady did, but just proving you can do it without Bill.
I was a Brady hater, and even after this, it was still, as the story was still like, if you wanted to be a hater, which I was, you say the Falcons choked that away. That was a Shanahan special that had nothing to do with Tom Brady. We had Julian Edelman making crazy catches down the middle of the field. None of that had to do with Tom. And then, what was it, Matt Ryan didn't have a chance in overtime. And it was just nothing had to do with Tom Brady. I was still using that narrative. When he beat Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl with the Bucs, you're out of everything.
That's when I stopped hating.
You don't have Bill Belichick. You're beating one of the next Tom Brady, the next greatest of all time, the up-and-coming quarterback that is Patrick Mahomes. You don't have an argument anymore when he goes to the Bucs. And that's where it was for me. This Super Bowl was incredible, though. I was at my friend Zach Freese's house, and it was 28-3, and it was a Super Bowl party. I was like, Zach, I'm going to leave. I don't care about this. It was Lady Gaga performing the halftime show, which, honest to God, was the only reason I stayed, I think. I was like, you know what, I'm going to see Lady Gaga, because I would have left at half.
Meat dress?
Oh, yeah, the meat dress. She
jumped into the stadium.
She was flying through the stadium. I was like, Zach, all right, I'm out. I don't need to see this anymore. This is a blowout. And Lady Gaga came out, and I'm like, okay, this is fun. And then the second half started. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just stay. But, yeah, this was one of the greatest moments in sports, obviously.
You talk about forgotten sports moments like the Marcus Page shot. Julio Jones' sideline catch in this game is one of the best catches in the history of football.
That's right.
And you never see it played or talked about or anything because they lost.
Fair enough. Shout out Lady Gaga. One of my favorite contrarian takes that I've had since I was like 12 is that Lady Gaga's hot. Like it was very popular to make fun of Lady Gaga. I was like, I don't know, she's kind of hot, and I've been doing that for 16 years now. So shout out Lady Gaga. This is the final one we have. This is from the college football fan in the room, Jacob Tissett, 2018 National Championship.
Alabama, Georgia. Snap went over to his head. He got sacked. It was 2nd and 26. Freshman to freshman. Tua came in at halftime for Jalen Hurts. Threw it to Devontae Smith down the sideline to beat Georgia. It was an incredible game. If you listen to the Georgia radio call, it's one of my favorite things in the entire world. They're making fun of Tua's last name as he gets sacked.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They're making fun of the pronunciation of his last name. They're like, that's the dumbest thing you could do. How do you get sacked on that play? Yada, yada, yada. And then drops it in the bucket to Devontae Smith to win the game. And then obviously Devontae Smith goes on to win a Heisman at Alabama. So start to a pretty cool career for both of those guys.
All right, that was our favorite championship moments.
Yes.
Yeah, that was fun. That was
fun.
There's something about when the lights are brightest about having moments that you forever remember. There's nothing that's worse than getting excited for a championship game, getting excited for like a Game 7 or something, and it's just a dud. It's just a nothing burger. Yeah. Like one thing that the 2019 World Series was a Game 7. It was an okay game. Nothing exciting. It was a good game. But like those almost fall into the camp of no one ever remembers. Yeah. You got to have a lot of things going right. Like we're talking about the LeBron block. There's a lot of backstory there.
Oh yeah.
We're talking about Tom Brady. We're talking about Tiger Woods. Like it's almost like the story has to prop up the moment itself. David Freeze's game is forgotten if David Freeze is just an incredible baseball player for the rest of his career. He's got to hang on to that moment for the rest. Like we'll even throw into Georgia. Like Stetson Bennett will be forever remembered as like this great college football because you forget about these college players. Like Michael Jordan's. The reason that we don't really talk about Michael Jordan's game winner in the NCAA championship game is because he had thousands of famous moments when he got to the NBA. So you almost got to have nothing behind it.
One of the moments I was going to say, but I didn't think you guys would care about it. I did grow up playing tennis and watching tennis. Andy Murray winning the Wimbledon in 2013, I believe, against Novak Djokovic. He was the first British man to win Wimbledon since 1936. It was a 77-year drought since somebody from Britain won Wimbledon. And I remember that moment when he beat Novak. It was the career-defining moment for Andy Murray. It was very, very cool to see.
I was a big Andy Murray fan. I liked Andy Murray.
Andy Murray was cool. He didn't win a ton. He's like, his career kind of fell off. He had that retirement stint. I don't know what year that was. He retired due to injury, but now he's back playing, and he just hasn't been very good. He has a career in his singles career, as good as he's been. He has a career losing record in tennis, in his professional tennis career, which is kind of wild to think about.
Wow.
Andy Murray, GOAT.
Andy Reddick. Who's a better tennis player? Andy Murray or Andy Reddick?
no?
Murray's way better.
Is
Andy
he
Reddick
better?
only won one, I think, right?
How many did Reddick win or Murray?
Murray won 3, and Murray
Andy
also
just won the U.S., right?
Huh?
Andy just won the U.S.
Yeah, he just won the U.S. Murray won Wimbledon twice and the U.S. and he also won the Olympic Games.
Andy Roddick, my bad, not Reddick.
Yeah,
JJ.
sorry.
JJ.
JJ.
That
You already
press conference was something. Did you
already
guys
have
catch?
a
rocked.
clippable moment.
Yeah, that
Moment.
press conference rocked.
I don't give. Yeah,
I screen recorded that
you-
right away.
Let me ask you guys this: do you buy that he and LeBron didn't have a conversation about him being the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, the team in which LeBron plays for? LeBron, the co-host on his podcast.
Yeah, because it would have been illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely do not think LeBron and JJ
You
Redick talked
actually
about
don't
anything.
think you actually don't think they talked
No,
once about it.
not about him being hired. No, not once
Come
he said.
on.
No, I really don't.
Okay.
the LeBron love is taking a step too far, Jacob.
I'm glad the camera's not on when I was.
I like LeBron James. I love LeBron
No,
James. I do
LeBron
think
does
he's
not.
he's-
LeBron had a press conference at the start of the summer and said, "I do not want to be involved in the coaching search." And you think he lied?
Yes.
I don't know what kind of bit you're doing over here, but it's
He doesn't lie.
He doesn't lie. Taco Tuesday.
LeBron lies every time about every single book that he's holding in his hand.
You know what? And that makes him the most relatable person in the entire world because I told all my teachers that I read the books, and I sure as hell didn't.
That's fair. SparkNotes. Shout out to SparkNotes. What an app.
Yo,
What a
You are
website.
so trained on the LeBron defenses. He practiced
I'm
these
on
in the
10.
mirror.
I'm on 10 every day for LeBron.
He practiced them in the mirrors. He had that book reference ready to rock. He knew that was going to get thrown out in this conversation. He's like, I've got an answer for that one.
Yep.
Like a true LeBron politician.
On his
It's great.
head. I
And
know what
listen,
the kids say.
I love LeBron, but my boy does fib quite a bit. Him talking about Kobe. Him talking
He
about
predicted the 81-point game. It's the coolest thing ever. Jordan didn't do that.
He said I looked at my friends and I said he's going to score 50. Then he scored 50 and I was like, might as well score 60. And it's just like, yeah, he's got 50 with 30 minutes to go, LeBron. Like, what do you think he's just going to stop? Like,
I
what's
love
going
that
to
man.
happen?
I love that man so much.
I like when LeBron raps lyrics and then he doesn't know the words.
I like that
He
Le-
just mumbles.
Did you see that he's improved?
I have.
He hasn't got lyrics wrong in months because he
What's-
bought a second phone that
Yeah,
he just
he
reads
just
them
reads
off of
them.
while he
Yeah, he
records.
reads the lyrics
It's
off of
incredible. He really is just the best.
That's
God
my guy.
God love LeBron James.
He started a school that no one graduated
Do you
from.
think-
I mean,
do
it was
you-
incredible.
His school did do terrible.
I don't think a single kid
I
graduated.
think it's still going on, but that school, woo, what was it? Was called like the Dream Big.
I
School?
Promise.
I
I
Promise.
promise school. Yeah, I promise that all these kids will fail, and they all did. Shout out to them,
Man.
Intentions were good.
The
Intentions were good.
But
Can we take a Chatterbox trip to the museum?
Yes, let's do
I
it.
want to go to the museum so bad.
How short of a leash does JJ Redick have?
I don't think it's that short because I don't think he's making a single decision.
Well, if he makes, why is that?
Because LeBron didn't care who got hired because he coaches the team.
Because LeBron coaches the team. That's correct. I'm just saying, when LeBron misses the postseason next year, by the way, 20 out of 30 teams make it. When he misses the postseason next year, I do think he's going to throw JJ right under the bus.
Oh.
JJ will be back with Stephen A.
Well, he's the best scorer, the best passer, the best rebounder, and the best throw under the buster of all time. So I'll be all right.
Yeah. LeBron GOAT. There's really no argument. If he wins,
I mean, I don't know what it is at this point. Jordan doesn't even have a Defensive Player of the Year
it's-
anymore.
Like the only argument the Jordan believers have is like he won more.
Well, no, the
finals records. But if we're going by finals, Bill Russell has more. So then you're not even the GOAT of your own statistic.
Well, at this point, the argument against LeBron is La China,
Wow.
La Mao Zedong.
You want to give nuanced takes on our relationship?
Let's give
with
nuanced takes about the big news that happened this morning. Julian Assange free.
Who's that?
WikiLeaks.
All right, here you go. Give a take. What do you got, Jacob?
No takes. No
Come on,
takes.
Julian Assange.
I think we're out of
Free,
time.
WikiLeaks.
That's your take. That's your bit.
You put it on the tee for us.
No.
All right. Well, there we go. Yeah, I don't know. We had a great. We always talk about how there's not a lot to talk about in the summer, which is fair. It is true. But man, we got good College World Series. We got a good NHL Game 7. Is there anything more deflating than coming back 3-0? Like we talk about baseball, you'd rather just get smoked, right?
Oh yeah,
you'd rather just get smoked.
Yeah.
Than take it into the 9th inning and then lose. I'd rather get swept than go down 3-0, get it to Game 7, and then lose.
That would
Just
brutal.
Just end it.
It's brutal.
Just end it. Like don't put me off the ventilator here and think that everything's gonna get by and then I die at home a week later.
I would hate myself if we were ever up, like if the Reds ever went up 2-0 in a series and then lost out to lose all the games in a series that I thought they were going to win. I'd be very, very upset to lose like that.
Yeah.
Thank God it's never happened, but
Got to make the playoffs.
Huh?
But you said that's never going to happen again either. So
they won't make the playoffs again. That is true.
We got a new chat.
Ever.
Hawk Tua says, looking hot, Jacob.
Oh, thanks, Hawk Tua.
Nice.
Sean Connor, let's read his little message in here. Business politics strategy. Ace Fowler, go down to GABP, decked out in Seabox apparel, and hold up a huge, quote, I fully support David Bell sign.
I'll do that.
I would do that.
I love it.
Was I off
I'll
the
wear
mark?
my Extend Bell shirt.
Was
from
I
last summer?
Was I off the mark when I was talking about that when I brought that up?
What?
Was that
Cruz?
something that didn't pop in your mind last night during the game? Is why is he in this game at
I
11:30?
wasn't the one arguing that. You know that.
Yeah, I just
No,
well,
I think it's completely valid.
It's valid. I just like if I do think it goes the other way too, where if you don't pitch if you're used to pitching consistently,
Yeah, I didn't
and then
know
you
that
go on
either.
a long break, I think that's just as. I mean, I think you could damage yourself that way as well, right?
yeah, I just think that you could maybe make it an effort to say, all right, he's going to throw tomorrow. Once again, I don't care either way. I'm just saying in a place where we're constantly talking about managerial decisions and analytics. Analytics couldn't have the computer couldn't have printed that one out, couldn't have faxed that one to the dugout and be like, all right, let's throw the best reliever here, second best reliever on the team in an 11-3 game. And I understand that he's going and everything like that. I don't know. It just seems like we might have glossed over that. And I'll go back and I'll watch Chatterbox Reds. I didn't watch it last night. And I want to see if they had an opinion on him throwing on that game. They probably didn't. I don't know. I think it's worth bringing up. I think it's a worthy gripe if we're gonna do what is David Bell doing, what is David Bell not doing. Out of all the decisions that I've seen David Bell make, that's the first one where I'm really scratching my head.
What is your take on sitting him back down once he's warming up? Because if Spires was already done at 90-something pitches and it's a 7-4 game and he's warm, do you have to send him in?
No.
I feel like you do.
I see that's something that I don't agree. I don't think like it's once the train leaves the station, it can't come back.
No, there's no brakes on the cruise missile.
Right. It's just like is the question that we're talking about that he's gotten too ramped up that it's gonna hurt him to sit back down? No. Because we'll throw him out there and he can get one out in the eighth inning to get that one out, and then we'll throw somebody else in the next inning. Like, that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
So we're going to say, like, oh, he can't sit back down and let's get somebody else loose?
This again, if he didn't do what he did, which is give up 2 earned runs, I'd have a better argument for this. But if like let's say they bring in Justin Wilson in that spot, and he gives up 4 runs, 5 runs. And then it's like, all right, then we should have done.
Then you bring Fernando Cruz in anyway.
Correct. So it's like, it's just. I know you don't have to. But with all the rest that he's been getting, it's one of those things. Keep the body loose in a non-high leverage situation, which I think is you pitch differently in that situation anyway.
That's fair. That's a good point.
So it's
a much less stressful situation coming into that game at 11-3. He pitched 3 times last week.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not act that this guy's been sitting on the back burner for two months.
That's fair. I mean,
once again,
how many
from the periphery,
how many of those were full innings? Because I know 2 of them were not full innings. He came in the Red Sox to get 2 outs.
He threw two total innings last week and three outings. Got 2 outs against the Pirates. got a full inning against the Pirates, and went 1 out against faced 2 batters against the Red
Correct.
Sox. But I don't know. Like it just seems like if a concern has been maybe we're overusing our setup guy too much, throwing in an 11-3 game just doesn't compute.
That's fair.
That doesn't compute to me. And here's the glorious thing about this opinion that Trace got on me about earlier is like if you want to argue
about it,
oh yeah, he said we can't be serious. He put it in the chat.
regarding this take.
Yeah.
Yep.
What was the argument? He was on the side that why not
He
pitching?
said because he hasn't thrown a whole lot. He hasn't thrown a whole lot, just getting into new work. You also had a lot of other relievers throw a lot of pitches over the weekend as well. That's fine. That's fine. I'm just taking the information that I'm bringing in, which is we have talked about Fernando Cruz being overworked, and then watching the highlights last night, because I was watching other sporting events, watching the highlights and seeing Fernando Cruz throwing in an 11-3 game. I was like, oh, was he in the inning before? No, he wasn't in. He came into an 11-3 game. It just doesn't seem like it added up. But once again, it won't matter. It probably won't matter.
I had a bigger issue with the lineup than putting Fernando Cruz in that spot. But again, the lineup. What can you do with the lineup? Because half the guys are hurt, or are unable to play due to steroids. So it's just every game is fun for the Reds. That's what it is. Every game you just don't know what to expect. I didn't expect the Reds offense to score a season high last night with Levi Jordan, Luke Maley, Santiago Espinal, and Stuart Fairchild rounding out the lineup. But that's how it was. That's how it goes with the Cincinnati Reds. You just don't know anything.
It's almost like you do know, though. Because when you know they're going to be bad, they're going to be good.
That's
and when
true.
you think that, oh, this is the one.
I've tweeted out 3 times about their lineup this season, saying it's a terrible lineup. I'm not kidding. All 3 of those times, the Reds showed out. They scored 7+ runs. I'm pretty sure in every single time that I've tweeted out something slanderous about their lineup. What did Kirby say? Is PB saying Reds defender Nick Kirby?
Nothing. He was
said a lot of
just
overworked
defending,
pitchers.
said that there's a lot of overworked pitchers, and Fernando Cruz hadn't pitched over the weekend a whole lot. That's a fair point. If everyone was overworked this weekend and Cruz had been, let's get him some work. Once again, I don't care either way. I was just curious on this. Everyone's saying we're in the dark ages of off the bench. Sure, let's keep the bit going. There will be some news on that front very, very soon that I think you guys will be excited.
New look
New look.
on off the bench.
New look coming soon.
We haven't had it enough lately.
There
so
hasn't
we're
been
gonna do
enough.
it one more time until it happens the next time.
So when will the renaissance occur? Next Monday. Next Monday, big dog. That's it. That's where you get.
What did you guys learn from the show today? Jimmy?
I like this last segment.
Jimmy, what did you learn from the show today?
I learned that the Tigers committed the first 1-3-5 double play since
Triple play.
Triple. All 3 outs.
All 3 of them in the same inning.
1-3-5 triple play for the first time since 1929. That's pretty cool, and I wish I didn't know that.
That is really cool. That is a good thing to learn.
It's really cool.
Read what you learned.
What did I learn from this show? I learned that Fernando Cruz needs to get work in an 11-3 game. I don't care, though.
Reed doesn't care at all.
I learned that LeBron doesn't lie.
Ever.
And that's from my good friend Jacob Tissett. LeBron does not lie. Did you participate in the Stanley Cup beer drinking game last night that I sent you?
I did not. No, I think you would have had to have drank 1,000 beers.
I think you would have. If you didn't see it and you rated R comedy, go to Twitter right now and look up the Stanley Cup drinking game.
Very funny.
Very, very, very funny. But what did you learn today, Jacob?
I learned that if the Cubs had half their blown saves, they would be in first in the National League Central. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
It is
Wasn't
sweet.
that fun?
That's sweet.
Pretty cool. My dear friend Alexis Diaz would have them healthfully in the playoffs.
Yeah, he would. When I tell you I was so ecstatic to see that they lost this morning when I was going through my headlines and I was looking at the scores because I placed that bet and I immediately went to bed. I'm like, all right, I'm done. What a spectacular victory by me. Can you tweet something from? You don't have to show it on the thing, but can you tweet something from Casey's account just for fun? The chat wants it, not me. The chat wants it. I think it was your guy Blackmore saying any Casey tweets.
You want me to? What do you
mean?
Tweet I'm
why
not
would
going
he
to
tweet
tweet
from
on
Casey's
behalf
account?
of Casey.
Oh, Casey was doing it by himself.
Okay.
I see.
As opposed
You're
to.
right.
Yeah.
Sorry. That was my bad. I forgot.
The best was, you guys don't know this, but Trace and Sean came in the studio later on in the show yesterday, and he was like, "Are you guys seeing Casey's tweets? What are these about?" And it was just so funny.
Has he deleted any of them? I don't think he has.
Yeah, you gotta let him run.
Let the bit go, I guess.
John Silvani. Reed is a secret Reds fan for certain.
Can we get?
You said we talking about
You
the
did
Reds
say
like
we.
7
You
times.
did say
today.
we.
What do you want me to say? I live here in this city.
You hate them.
You hate them.
I talk about the Reds every day for
Did-
work.
That's fair.
It's hard to argue with that.
Can you get a zoom in on the table for Mark? Mark, this is what your money did for us. We had a very nice glass table now with all of our bobbleheads. I don't know if they made. I was reading my things today, so I didn't know if they made any note of it. But look at this beautiful thing. Look at it. It's all glass, see-through. Look at this.
Some chords.
Yeah, some cords there, but we'll get that cleaned up.
We'll do it
get
again.
some.
We'll do it again, Elliot. Can you name the Nasty Boys?
Nope.
That's
Rob
your
Dibble.
bobblehead.
Rob Dibble.
Yep. Randy Myers, Norm Charlton. Is Reed slowly becoming a Red sleeper? Do I have to do an anti-Reds bit again? Am I getting too close to the sun?
You are more worked up about Brett's bullpen usage than either Elliot or myself.
Way more.
I think it's just because he was mocked for bringing it up.
That's fair.
That would make me mad.
I don't care though.
Can tomorrow
though.
can tomorrow on Box Lunch, can you do a Dear Reds fans? I'd really like you to do another Dear Reds fans.
I don't have it in me. Spirits low, just period. Not just here on the. I came in giddy today, but I think it was all
a show.
running off adrenaline.
Oh no, we're hitting a wall.
Pretty low. Luckily tonight, I get to watch some great baseball tonight. Chatterbox night.
Woo!
At the Hamilton Joes game at Foundation Field. That's right. Our very own Elliot Rearing is throwing out first pitch
Wow.
at Foundation
What
Field.
a
an
special honor.
What an honor.
What a special honor. Now, will I get what do you think the ceremonies will be for that? Because I'd really like a signed ball.
I think it's a crowning.
A crowning?
I believe so.
I would really like to have a crown. If I can get a crown and also get a signed baseball by their best player, I don't know who that is, but I'd like their best player to sign me a baseball.
Mr. Joe.
Mr. Joe? And the off chance that he makes the majors. That's what I would want.
My favorite thing is, so I used to do a lot of bits towards high school athletes when we were mostly in high school, and a lot of them play on this team. Like one kid's Braden Fraseman, who I used to say is the best catcher in Butler County, and he plays on this team. I like Braden Fraseman. Cooper Fear, some local kids playing, but it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Have you dissected? I think Jacob's going to catch your first pitch.
That's the plan.
I think that's
Bare hands.
Are you? No, you're not.
Boom.
Please do bare hands.
Oh yeah.
Please do
That's
bare
the plan.
hands. I'm gonna throw it as hard
Rip
as I
it in
can.
there.
I'm gonna throw it as hard as I can.
Oh yeah, bare hands.
Do you think you'll bounce it more or less than Stuart Fairchild?
I think you should try to do the
Should I
exact
do a
same
three
throw
bouncer?
path as Stuart
Should I
Fairchild.
do a 3-bouncer?
3-bouncer, and you got to throw it from way in front of the mound.
I was thinking of doing yeah. I was thinking of doing the first pitch that Sir Yacht, that guy on Twitter, that
Oh,
Cleveland
yeah,
fan.
yeah, yeah.
I was thinking about doing that fake throw that he did, just looking like an idiot and acting like it was a real throw. I don't know if you ever seen that, Reed, but he was I think it was the first pitch for the Guardians. And he made it a whole bit where he was just gonna fall down while he threw. Looked terrible. Looked like the dumbest thing of all time. And to this day, he says it's not. He says it's not fake, but it obviously is.
John Silvani said Reed was a great coach back in the day as well. Never have coached. My uncle did. My brothers did. I have not. Umpired for
But you
one
would have
time.
been.
I would love to coach, yes.
Sean Connor says he thought Rue would have been a great umpire.
I umped one game. So this is my umpiring story. A few years ago, I was brought out to start umpiring. Well, I umped Little League games, but like my first I think it was 17U. I get in Link, was trying to make some extra dough. I didn't do any of the classes. The guy who hired me, he does all the scheduling for umpires for like summer teams and stuff like that. He's just like, Reed, you'll be good. And I was like, all right. So I go out to my first game, and I'm put behind the dish. And right before the game starts, the field umpire goes like, hey, where did you do your training? And I was just point blank with him and like, haven't done any training. He's like, okay. He's doing hand signals to me out in the field. Like I'm umping, and he's like, there's a runner on second. He's like, and I, behind the game, just give him a thumbs up. No signals back, just a thumbs up. Like, I got it. And I was getting bullied by these coaches for the first 3 innings. Then I think they realized how bad I was to where they didn't say anything for the last 4 innings. Not a word was said. Just some groans. Every once in a while, a fan would just be like, would laugh at me.
Did the
They'd
kids
just
ever
laugh
look?
at
Did
me.
the kids ever look back?
The one time the kid shrugged to his coach and said, like, I don't know. He said, "I'm trying my best," is actually what he said. He said, I'm trying my best. I never got asked to do another game. Never got scheduled another game.
That's good.
Made my
That's good.
$60, and I went away.
Listen.
Greg is right. You know you're bad when they stop caring.
That's true.
When it just becomes funny for all.
That's what my dad used to always tell me when he would coach. He's like, if I'm trying to instruct you, that means I care. There's players on this team that are worthless. Like, I can't do anything. Like, they just got to show up, they got to play their inning, and then we'll move them on there. Like, I'm done with these guys. When they stopped caring, they were just like, this is our reality. It was just a sobering moment for those coaches where they're just like, this is what we got for the next 7 innings. We got old Readeroo. To where I at one point I just started calling everything a strike.
Get out
I was
of
just
there.
like, if it looks confident enough,
Yeah.
And the best was I came in like gung ho, ready to give some great strike 3 calls. After getting bullied for 3 innings, strike 3 just turned into he's out. It was arrows. I was ready to go, and then by like the second one, where I'm showing up, a strike 3 call on one that wasn't close, and the kid's like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "All right, maybe I should reel this back in a time or two and just he's out."
That's it. Off the bench, Chatterbox Sports. Thank you, everybody, for watching today. If you're in Hamilton at 7 p, Hamilton Joe's, Jacob and I, first pitch tandem, the greatest first pitch tandem to ever do it.
That's what they say.
So check us out tonight if you're in Hamilton, Ohio at 7 p.m. Other than that, we will see you guys tomorrow morning, Wednesday, hump day, and hopefully for another good show. Hopefully after another Reds victory tonight. But that's it. Everybody have a great, pleasant Tuesday evening.